What is going on, Vibram family? This is Kep, the Vibram Collector. We are here a couple minutes after 6. We have a pretty exciting, what I've called a double header podcast tonight. We have Jeff Laney with Vibram Disc Golf is joining us, and Collette from Hawk's Nest Disc Golf, which for those of you that don't remember, Hawk's Nest was the one that did a pretty awesome giveaway for the Vibram Open. So we will talk to them a little bit later and what they're doing for the brand, and should be a pretty good conversation with those guys. So one of the things that I announced last podcast was a giveaway, and I asked you, we had to jump over to YouTube, and I asked you guys, and you can see my hat's kind of funky with the green screen, so I apologize there. You just have to see a stripe in my head tonight. But I asked you guys to share the post on YouTube. I don't have a whole lot of subscribers on YouTube, so for those of you that aren't subscribed on YouTube, go jump out there and subscribe. But I said that somebody was going to get a giveaway, and the giveaway was going to be a float mini of your choice. So if you bear with me here, I'm going to get this organized, and I will announce the first winner of the night, which will be the winner of the float mini. All right. So the winner of the float mini of their choice, which is one of these beauties here. Okay. All right. Let me scroll down here. Let me check comments and see how everything's going. We've got one of these here. Oh. All right, we've got one of these here. And we have one of these here. So those of you out there, check the video, holler at me, let me know how it's looking. Hopefully it's streaming okay, and everything is looking clear on your side. Just give me a holler, let me know, give me a thumbs up. It looks like we're having some Facebook issues yet again, but I'm going to change my bit right here and see if that will help us out a little bit. So we'll slow that down a little bit and see if we can clean it up, guys. All right, so talking about the giveaway for the float mini, we have Chris Lewandowski. Chris Lewandowski, if you are out there listening, give me a holler. Let me know if you want the boot print. I think we call this one the spinner. I don't know. What's the official name on these things? I'm not sure. We've got the normal Summit, right? Or maybe this is the Mini VP. I'm not sure. We'll have to ask Jeff here in a minute. We'll get clarification on which ones are which. And then we have the stamp, the Ascent here. Okay, so Chris Lewandowski, you go ahead and give me a thumbs up, give me a shout out, let me know that you're out there. You are the first winner of the night. Thank you so much for doing that share on the YouTube post from last week, which was podcast 13. So I think we've got a handful of you out there watching. Thank you so much for joining. We've got a lot of material to cover tonight, a lot of questions to hopefully get answered. The gentleman that is with me tonight is the head of Vibram Disc Golf, and he is graciously decided to come here and talk to us and let us know, what his thoughts are behind, where they're going with the grip team. I know folks like myself are super excited about the grip team. And some other folks, may have some questions out there that they're just not quite sure if they want to be excited yet. And that's fair too. So that's what we're here to address tonight. We are hoping that once we're done with the conversation tonight, that everybody will be on the same page and we'll have a good push into 2018. So I'm going to go ahead and join Jeff into the conversation and go ahead and get him tuned in. Jeff, I appreciate you joining me, man. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing okay, Todd. Stoked to be here.
Good.
First, I'd like to apologize if I come across a little low volume. I've been under the weather, but hopefully I can feed off the energy here and power through.
Okay. All right. So, Jeff, the first question of the night, comes from a gentleman, Bradley Bramlett, and he's a super excited guy about Vibram Disc Golf. And he says the other night, I said, if you could ask Jeff, 3 questions, what would they be? And his first question was, he said, how is Jeff feeling overall? He said he felt like that he understood that it could be a pretty stressful position that you're in. So how are you feeling overall with where things are from where you started with Vibram taking over the disc golf?
Bradley, thanks for the question. I have more confidence than I've ever had in the decisions that are being made. Some important breakthroughs have taken place. Internally, we've been able to really focus on other folks at Vibram learning more about disc golf so they can help the business from their respective positions to a greater degree. There's been quite a bit of learning on the job without question, and at times that can be frustrating, but I'm the type of individual that takes that frustration and puts it in a blender and channels it into something that's palatable and try to understand what is a solution to the frustration. Rather than dwell on the frustration, I see it as an opportunity. So, needless to say, there are plenty of opportunities this year. And I'm confident in the direction that we're going to be taking for the remainder of the year as well as 2018. But I'm not so naive to realize some little hiccup may occur that may force us to have to adjust and adapt. And that's what any good business is going to do, adjust and adapt to circumstances that were beyond their ability to see into the crystal ball.
Hey, that makes complete sense, and I think that's a great answer to Bradley's question. Probably leaving a little bit more than he even asked for. I do have to jump right directly into his second question, which is, do you like pepperoni pizza?
Oh, that's a good question. Not as much as I did when I was younger. The pepperoni really doesn't agree with me as I get older. But to me, that's the classic pie, that or margarita.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I hear you. All right, good deal. So Bradley, there you go, man. He says the pepperoni is a limited selection for him these days, and that's fair. That's cool. So let's do a quick regroup of 2017 and what an awesome year it was for Vibram Disc Golf. And feel free to plug in where I missed a couple things, but we had some awesome stuff happen with the Colors of Soft this year. We had the launch, we had the Crag, we had Vinnie Miller hitting the street and doing some awesome stuff with Rubber Meets the Road, which I feel like really brought the collectors group and the groundwork, the kind of those guys that are out there just pushing the love just because they're goofballs like me and just love rubber, right? And so then, there was a little bit of a gap there in the summertime, which we talked about. We know that there was a lot of work going on with the factory and just trying to get some things grinded out there. But then, man, the Vibram Open was awesome. I didn't personally get to go to the tournament or anything like that, but I know the experience from where we are on our end was incredible. I mean, that partnership you had with Hawk's Nest and, releasing those really hard to find discs and stuff like that. I mean, to me, it seemed like a pretty good way to end the year. How did you feel about that?
Well, Hawk's Nest was great to work with, and we actually throughout the year found things hidden in the vault, and found and created multiple opportunities for similar such situations. We have one business partner that will be slowly but surely making available some discs that we made available to them. And we're working on an order right now for the last of the discs that we found in the vault that will be heading to another retailer. And we'll announce those in due time, once they ship to those guys and they're ready to sell them. I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but those were some really unique and cool opportunities for us that we didn't realize we even had within our mechanisms. The factory is such a big place, it's pretty easy for a pallet or two to kind of get swallowed up in the pile there. So
I'm sure.
there's some really neat stuff. I would say to everybody, keep an eye out amongst all the chatter on social media and with one another, because there's going to be plenty of opportunities for some previously released or not released unique products from us.
I know for me, obviously, the fact that I'm running a Vibram Collector page, that is like super awesome and is going to have me stirring the pages now. Any hints out there as to who we might see on this list, or is it going to be multiple vendors out there?
Well, we because of the nature of how they were found and the way that we really need to move the product, it was our preference to work with just one person each time, one retailer,
okay,
rather than splitting it all up. Because many of these things were never items that were within our catalog, so to speak. So in order to keep that workload down and allowing our internal resources to focus on areas where their need was far greater, we found the simplest solution was to offer these up as bulk purchases to a couple of retailers. So Infinite Disc was one. We worked with Hawk's Nest, the Vibram Open, and that was a wonderful experience because we actually got to work hand in hand and together with Chris and his team.
Yeah.
And the other one will be shipping in the next couple days to a pretty well-known retailer in Minnesota.
Okay, awesome. Minnesota. I'm writing this down. All right, guys. So you out there, if you didn't catch it, or you just happen to be daydreaming or what have you, Minnesota. Okay, that's where, you know, we all got to work as a group and go after that thing. We'll find them. That's really awesome, man. I like the fact that you're giving these retailers an opportunity to be part of it too, because this could have definitely been something that you could have released on the factory site, right?
It is, and as we progress in this conversation this evening, I'll shed more light on just how we feel we can differentiate ourselves in the disc golf industry by forging stronger retail partnerships. But the groundwork started with Chris and Hawk's Nest, and I'm very appreciative of what they did to pull this together rather quickly for the Vibram Open and have it be as successful as it was. Those that don't know, Chris also has a full-time job outside of disc golf, like many folks, and he was playing in the event itself. So, I mean, that guy was a warrior during the whole event to put the event on that he did, and to be able to service customers in the way he did. I was truly appreciative of those efforts. And we in the past few weeks have made available limited edition mini coasters and the throwing stars to a number of retailers, and through our social media channels in the coming days we'll be announcing who has received some of those. They were very limited runs, and I would say this is likely the last time we'll do these products, because we're going to move forward using the 4-disc mold that you alluded to earlier, that we did the float minis with. As everybody knows, we were unable to continue making float because of issues that it created at the production level, directly tied to the compression molding manufacturing process. And we found that a great use of that material would be none other than to break that mold open and create some limited edition minis. And going forward, we're going to work within Vibram and our soling partnerships and vet other opportunities like that throughout the year for one-off limited edition runs with using that same mold and putting some really neat and unique product in the marketplace that, in my opinion, should be highly collectible.
Yeah, I would definitely. I mean, I think that goes without saying. I mean, it's definitely going to be highly collectible. But can you help kind of frame this for everybody that doesn't understand? I would imagine we probably have some guys out there that are new to Vibram that are just hearing about it. What I heard you say was that it's a 4-disc mold. And what I would imagine, and for those of you that are just tuning in, we gave away, and bear with me as I get these pulled up, but we gave away one of these, or a choice of one of these, to one of the guys earlier. So you have the Summit mold, I'm assuming, which is the flat mold. and then you have the, pardon me, the Ascent with the boot stamp on top. And these are super grippy, that's for sure. And then you have the complete boot stamp, right? And then you have the swirl. So if I'm understanding correctly, so is it one piece that has like one slot for each of these? Is that how that works?
It's one plate with 4 unique 3-dimensional molds within it.
Okay.
That represent each of the 4 discs you mentioned, the 2 summits and the 2 ascents.
Awesome, man. That's really cool. So,
and that's part of why I know there was some confusion when we released this, that we only released it as one item, but that's part of the reason internally for us, the way our internal structures are set up, that's one item.
Yeah.
The other thing it did, and I think this makes it even more unique, and it was really a pleasure to watch, is how quickly you all banded together to try to help one another find the 4 individual pieces that make up the one SKU as it is.
Yeah. I think it's minis is one of those things that, for most of us anyway, it makes it a collectible a little bit more affordable. Because not everybody can afford to pay. I mean, even when they come out at retail price, not everybody can afford to pay for a $20 disc that has a special run. Like for instance, when we a couple of years ago when the Maple Hill Open Disc and the Vibram Open Disc, those were a little bit more expensive, right? The hybrids that came out. So not everybody can afford that, but you roll out some minis and, they run in $7-8 a pop. I mean, that's something that most people can afford, and maybe even a couple of them makes it a lot more fun. That's for sure.
It does. And I tell you, the velocity of how quickly we sold them could not keep up with how quickly we could make them. We only used half of the remaining materials. So they're in the near future, possibly the end of this year, beginning of next year, we'll release the last bit of them.
This is sort of
anyone out there that missed the opportunity, there will be one more opportunity.
There you go. So just to reframe what he just said, if you missed your opportunity to pick up float minis, there will be a second run of those coming out shortly. Pay attention to retailers, I'm assuming, right? We're not going to be able to pick this up on Vibram site, right? It's going to be through retailers only?
Correct. And
okay.
We'll announce. The thing we're trying to do is forge a whole new dynamic with retail partnerships, and I get a report that tells me when something shipped and to whom. And
okay.
We want to announce that. We want to announce that to our public. We want to drive our consumers to our retail partners.
Yeah, absolutely.
And create business opportunities for them, because they ultimately have the ability to have that face time with the customer, where with our website we don't have that, and we want our customers serviced as an intimate setting as possible.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So those of you that are out there, let us know you're out there. Smash the like button, give it a love, or give it a smile, or give it an angry face or a cry face. I don't care. Just go ahead and smash that button and give us some reactions. Let us know that you're out there. We've got Jeff Laney from Vibram Disc Golf. It's going to be a really good conversation. We're just digging into a couple of things. We haven't even hardly got started yet here. Haven't even dug into Grip Team. So if you're just joining us, you haven't missed anything super important. We've just been catching up on the minis. Chris Lewandowski, you were the winner, sir, of the float mini of your choice. Coming from Vibram Collector, over to you, sir. Just go ahead and shoot me a PM with your address, and I will get that out to you. I greatly appreciate you sharing the podcast link last week. And, I don't have a whole lot of subscribers on YouTube. So those of you that don't subscribe to me, go hit it up and subscribe on YouTube, Instagram, all that mess, right? At Vibram Collector, it's out there. So there's my plug. All right, so continuing on, I think, are on the same page with the timeline, but refresh my memory. It's a 9-minute run, right? For a disc. Is the minis, just to kind of wrap up this mini conversation, is the minis the same amount of time to cure? So I know you can't see me, Jeff, but when we're looking at this piece compared to a disc, so much less material. So how does that process work as far as timeline? Can you spit these out faster than the disc can?
Well, first off, the machine that those molds rest in, if you took a bird's eye view of it, it would look like a wheel, a wagon wheel, somewhat. and you essentially, using that wagon wheel analogy, have to wait for that smoke to come back around, which is 9 minutes. So
Yeah.
to answer your question, it takes a
Yes.
certain amount of time.
Yeah, I hear you, man. Okay. All right. That's interesting. So that I mean, the fact that that's such a premium product to me is amazing. So here's what I'm going to do, Jeff. I'm just going to read for those of you that didn't get a chance to actually see the post. I'm just going to touch on a couple of points on the post where you actually announced the grip team, and then we'll stop and chat about a couple of these points. So here's how the post goes for those of you that didn't catch it. I will post it in this post. I'll update it, I'll edit it, and do all that stuff here in a minute while Jeff is chatting. But here's what we got. When it comes to disc golf, one of the most important aspects is grip. In 2018, we're creating a new team of people, a Vibram Grip Team. Who will make up Grip? Grassroots, regional, intern players that are passionate about disc golf and Vibram. It goes on to say we're focusing on the players that represent the 99% of all disc golfers, the average players, above all, the players that love the sport. So let's talk about that, Jeff. I mean, when I think about grassroots, I think about something that's brand new and, something that's starting, because there isn't any framework in place. So where's your thoughts with the grassroots and how that kind of comes into play here and with that being the kickoff of grip, how does that work with the vision?
Well, first off, for many years we've had a pro team, and the pros that have made up that team have serviced our brand well, represented our brand well, and been an asset to our business. However, in the last year as a company, we've really made a focus on all of the divisions of the company coming into one and being one Vibram. And as a result of doing that, I was at a crossroads, so to speak, with what to do with the team, because the way we have managed our pro disc golf team is completely different from the way we manage any other sponsorships or ambassador programs. And in order for us to be one Vibram, from my position, and I'm certain from those above me, I need to manage these folks in the same exact manner. And at the same time, while I can appreciate looking back, I'm a forward-looking and forward-thinking person. I wanted to present something different, a different opportunity. I see the enthusiasm for our brand that exists within the collectors group, within the group of touring professionals, within regional and localized courses and clubs. And I want to find a way to harness that love and affinity for the brand in a way that can help us grow our position within the sport. So the grassroots part of it speaks to, yes, we are doing something new and different. It actually feeds into that word intern. These are going to be 1-year positions. We're going to cycle through people and give many people an opportunity to help us grow our position within the sport of disc golf, to help spread the love. And we're going to look at geographic locations as part of the vetting process, as well as the answers to the initial questionnaire that was sent out. There will be some follow-up communications where we try to learn a little bit more about certain individuals and find out what they bring to the table that can help us. For us to continue to go down the same path is kind of insane to me, because, on our last podcast, we discussed how different Vibram is in the realm of disc golf. Many people out there listening may not know this. I am the only disc golf focused employee within the company. No other disc golf manufacturer has a workforce of one. That's not to say there aren't a number of people that support disc golf within Vibram, as there are. In fact, many and all employees do, but I am the only one whose sole focus is disc golf. And this is an opportunity for me to get in touch with a community of people that feel strongly about our brand and would love to see us grow our brand and become a brand that can be available to more and more people in more and more places. So the grassroots part of it is that there are no there's not a blueprint for what we're doing. This truly is going to be a unique and one of a kind opportunity, and hopefully in a constant state of evolution from the contributions that the individuals help give us.
Yeah, I think that's great. You know, one of the things that I think is really cool with doing the 1-year contracts is it keeps everything fresh. To your point, it gets new ideas, so you can take what works from the previous year, roll it over to the next year. For those folks that look long term and want to try to be part of something long term, how do you look at somebody like that and say, hey, right away from right now, we're only going to use you for a year? Or is it one of those things you're going to review everybody for a year and somebody could potentially be on the team longer than a year?
Certainly there could be that kind of opportunity that you speak of there. And I would be foolish to say that there couldn't be. But for the larger picture, we actually want to cycle through people. But I could foresee a situation in the first few years where we could have a couple folks that hang out for a year or 2 or 3 that help us get it off the ground and help us manage it properly and create this to be an even bigger opportunity. Right now, I don't have a set number in my head of how many people will be on this team. I can tell you that we are in the neighborhood of 120 plus applications at this point, of some great individuals who have shared an affinity and love for our brand, and going to make it really tough on me to go through this and share it with some internal folks as we make the decisions. But we look forward to reaching out to everybody that applied, and one, thanking them for applying, and 2, really looking at what the opportunity is. And I would just go ahead and say ahead of time, if in the end you've applied and you do not get named to this year's team, do not let that prevent you from applying again, because you'll see throughout the year what folks are doing, and that will give you an idea of what we're looking for and how to couple that with your skill set and abilities are, and what you can do to set yourself apart. And to go back to my earlier point, this is what we do with all of our ambassadors. Great individual that you're a part of this every year. And it really does keep it interesting, and it changes perspectives. And it gives you an opportunity to speak to a much larger audience.
Yeah, no, I think that being able to reach a larger audience is the struggle, right? I mean, that's really where the difficulty comes in. So, I mean, trying to get to as many people as possible, I mean, you think that this approach is going to be the cleanest approach? I mean, how do you manage something like this? I think that's been a big concern. Well, it's not really our concern, but when you say that you're a one-man team, man, that's kind of scary. I mean, even if you have 20 people, 50 people, I mean, if you have 120 applicants, let's say that half of them are good, so you got 60, they're scattered all over. How does one man manage that? You're not Superman. I mean, you're an awesome guy, but you're not Superman, right?
Well, it's, to clarify, I'm the only person only focused on disc golf.
Okay.
But, this first year is going to be a manageable number. I can tell you in my head, it's 20 would probably be pushing it.
Okay, so it'd be a smaller team then.
Smaller team, but we have internal assets and resources that will play roles in this. And quite frankly, I have no choice but to learn from my own mistakes. This year, I am certain a great number of people on our pro team have had some frustrations with me and the company. And I don't fault them or blame them in that. I went in a little naive on how to manage the team, and in some senses I failed them, and that created a learning opportunity. But by no means is this new direction a reflection of anything anybody has or hasn't done. This is in alignment with what we as a company do with all of our ambassadors. And that program is already successful, and that blueprint is already built. So all I have to do is plug disc golf into it. So it makes the job of managing this much easier.
Yeah.
But there will be pretty structured communications, again, drawing from that blueprint that we already have in existence for our current ambassador program when it comes to footwear and Five Fingers. I have a wonderful opportunity to really learn from what I've done and learn from what we do with others, and more importantly, learn from the individuals that make up our grip team.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you talk about the, just regular communication with something like that, I'm naive to how disc golf works with regards to, the relationships with teams, with vendors, and that sort of thing. How are these communications typically delivered? Is most of this stuff via email, or do you guys have like conference calls to where you have trainings and things like that? How does this world work? I come from a consulting world, so we do everything online, but we're constantly on the phone.
Well, it's, to this point, I'm going to speak more about what we'll do in the future, and that is we're going to leverage technology. And the individuals that we choose, most of them will have a strong aptitude in using technology, because that's going to be a cheap tool that we do use. And we will create those opportunities to educate folks and get them in alignment. There will be literature that will be available to them in hard copies that will be part of their initial package that they receive, as well as, in my mind, quarterly training opportunities.
Okay, so when you talk about quarterly training opportunities and you start talking to the Vibram community, I think people will immediately start thinking, "Man, does this mean I get to go to the warehouse?" I know that for me that's on my bucket list, right? So, how do you envision this working? I mean, is this something that people are going to be reviewing training documents, online, or is it going to be virtual trainings? Somebody just kind of talking through some stuff.
We're going to leverage technology. I don't have the budget to fly folks to the factory, and we just don't have the means to make a system like that work, no matter how neat that would be for everybody. But this could lay the groundwork for that in the future, and create that kind of opportunity. But we're going to spend a lot of phone time with one another. There'll be some individual opportunities as well as group opportunities. And this is me reaching out to a community for help to grow our business, help to put this brand in a position to be successful within the sport of disc golf.
Hey, that's cool. I think that's good. So with the, just what you mentioned earlier, that you feel like, you failed some of the past team, and really the next part of this deliverable was this new team will replace 3 previous teams: Team Vibram, Tester Team, Street Team. The new grip team will cycle its members yearly. They will be Vibram ambassadors to the sport of disc golf. So when we look at those past 3 teams, I know myself personally, I was on the Tester team, which was awesome. But I didn't get a lot of tester items as we all anticipated, that got part of the team at the Birdie Bash Worlds. But I don't think that's a failure on your part. I don't know that Street Team. I'm not sure that Street Team has been something that any of us has really looked at recently, or heard from recently. But with Team Vibram, I'm assuming you mean the pros, guys like Vinny Miller, Jeremy Mount, Chris, those guys that were out there playing the tournaments, that sort of thing. What do you think as far as going forward? Are these guys going to be able to be involved? I mean, are you giving them the opportunity to be part of this as well?
Well, to speak to, I'll back up. I didn't inherit a Tester team or the Street team. Those are previous entities, but we still want to acknowledge the fact that those did exist. Whether they were current or not. And to speak to the current team, this opportunity is open to everybody, but I don't want to be misleading. This in no way is a pro team and a pro sponsorship. Okay. And we are not focusing on pros whatsoever. We're focusing on people that, as it calls out, people that love our brand and want to represent our brand and help us grow our position within the sport of disc golf. And that's where the opportunity with this lies. We aren't looking for folks that need help in entering tournaments, that want to increase their exposure as pro players. That's not going to be our focus. Again, we are a different company, and in order for us to be successful, we need to change the blueprint and start operating in a way that fits our company dynamic much better. And that's what this opportunity does. And the proof's in the pudding. It already works within our footwear division, so we know it works.
Okay.
And I'm sure you can ask any current pro player, our current pro system doesn't work to help them in the way they need help. And for them, that's very frustrating. And I completely understand their frustration. And, you know, if I could, I would take a moment to acknowledge, you know, Bob Graham, Casey Lee, Chase Hayden, Chris Dietzel, Fred Smith, Greg Wintrobe, Jeremy Mount, Joe Gustafson, Mike Olsey, Mitch Sonderfan, Naved Hasnain, Ross Branch, Sean Jack, Tim Walsh, Toad McReynolds, Vinnie Miller, Wendy Booten, Evan Jones, Ben Kroll. Those are all people that were part of the previous team when I came aboard. And to them, I have nothing but respect. But I can't move forward and mismanage their hopes and mismanage their opportunities because it doesn't fit within our business portfolio and dynamic and what we're trying to do and accomplish. We want to focus on the 99% player. We want to focus on the everyday players, the players that create an opportunity for us to help share and grow the love of disc golf and the sport of disc golf, and those folks who are wanting to be educated and influenced on new products, new techniques, how to play, where to play, who to find to go play. Those are the opportunities that we want to focus on, as well as people that want to go in and speak to retail opportunities for us, people that want to help us open accounts, people that want to help us be successful in maintaining those accounts, and people that would like to see Vibram Disc Golf discs provided in a number of new retailers where we haven't previously been able to be purchased. We have plans for the future for some exciting new things, and if we continue to just limit who those products are available through, we limit who can purchase them, and that's not fair to a larger audience.
So I think one of the things that I think about just going down that line is when you talk about retailers, I could kind of tell that your angle's a little bit different than where I was focused. So when you're talking about retailers, my initial thought was, oh, it's just disc golf stores, it's just disc golf online, it's those sorts of things. But it sounds like you mean even just retailers that might just be willing to throw some discs on the shelf then that may not necessarily be only disc golf. Is that kind of where your thoughts are with that?
Well, we're a unique brand, and our product, it never ceases to amaze me what kind of businesses are applying to be a Vibram dealer. And, you know, I think we can all be jaded by our geographic region and those experiences. I was shocked to travel to Oklahoma and go into a gas station where a third of their square footage was devoted to disc golf. I had never seen anything like that. I had never seen a pro shop. The courses I grew up playing are all public, and I went to disc golf specific retailers, or those that sold disc golf discs and croquet sets and, you know, some other unique items. But, you know, largely focused on outdoor entertainment, casual games. And we're finding there's vape shops that are devoting a great number of space to disc golf. We have an account in, I believe, Evansville, Indiana, that is a hardware store, and there are a lot of those. We have a moving and storage company in Indiana that also has disc golf. So, you know, it's hard for me in my position living in Idaho to find all these unique locations. It's also hard for our 5 dedicated brand reps to do the same. You know, you take Jonah Salloway as an example, who is our South Central rep. Jonah lives in New Mexico. His territory is New Mexico, Texas, Missouri, Kansas, Arkansas, and Louisiana. I don't think I left anything out there. That's a pretty big territory, and it is unrealistic to expect him to, considering that disc golf is a small part of our portfolio, to be able to justify driving to the small little towns in Kansas that present great disc golf opportunities.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's why we want this to be 1-year internships, because there are people in small towns everywhere that can help us, and we want to acknowledge them and give them an opportunity and let them feel like they're a part of something and actually be a part of something and play critical roles in in the future, down the road, the development of new products, the development of new items from our company, and the ability to grow our brand.
All right. So with that, you brought up a couple points, and I'll not be able to touch on all of them immediately, but I'll circle around to them. But one of the things that you mentioned was the retailers and going into the retailers and having those conversations. For me, that requires a very special type of person to have those conversations, to feel comfortable. At what level do you anticipate these folks working towards? Are they going to be negotiating the contracts with these retailers, or they'll just be walking in, introducing the brand and saying, hey, call this dude if you're serious, that sort of thing?
It's more of an introductory.
Okay, cool.
It's giving us the chance to find out who these people are and where they're at.
Okay, cool.
Without divulging some details that'll be intimate with the grip positions. Depending on where a grip member is located, they will have business cards for the affiliated brand rep for that territory. And, the follow-up will be them making that brand rep aware of where they went and who they spoke to. And from that, if things come to fruition, then there will be a monetary opportunity for those folks.
I mean, I think that's awesome. I mean, monetary opportunity is always a good thing, right? I mean, at least for me, people have an opportunity to make some funds, however that's out there. So is that something that, I don't know how contracts work with disc golf, but I know obviously this is different in that it's opening the door for, folks like myself that may not be a pro, that may not, have that ability to be 1,000 rated player and to travel and to play disc golf full time. But it sounds like, there's still an opportunity for me to, if I was to apply, do this thing, I could actually, supplement, maybe make a little bit of cash. How does that differ as far as, what's traditional? Does a normal player out there make money doing with a typical contract?
Well, I can't really speak for what the other brands do.
Okay.
But within our brand, there are incentives for the current pros based off of results and payouts that are based thereof. And, that's the focus on a pro player. And while for many brands and even ourselves previously, that was important and something that we needed to do moving forward, it doesn't fit into the one Vibram mold of management and the way that we work in other avenues within our business. And it certainly doesn't create an opportunity for us to increase our ability to open new doors, because let's face it, a pro needs to be concentrating on getting to events and practicing. Most of these pros have full-time jobs, so they have a very limited time set to focus on the brand and still get out there and play and still practice and still have their family lives.
Sure.
And it's too much to ask for a pro sponsorship of this position. And, that led to part of this decision. That and the obvious reason of us wanting this to be managed in the same way that we manage all other ambassador opportunities.
Yeah, that's cool. What kind of dog you got, man?
I've got a black lab puppy.
All right. Impatient. I've got a small dog. She's just under 2 years old, and if she was in here, she'd be driving me nuts too. So I understand that completely. I think it's cute.
Yeah, I'm home alone right now, so he's used to going for a hike around this time of day. So
I got you.
He's a little animated.
I got you. Well, we just let him know it'll be just a little bit later hike today, but we'll still get him out there, right?
Yeah.
I hear you. So when we talk about the next part that was on this email, or really on the Facebook post, we went over the fact that you don't have to be a professional rated player, don't have to be at sanctioned events, but it says what will you need to do? You'll need to promote at your local course, at your local shops, at clinics, and at Vibram grip events. I think the social media makes sense. Local course makes sense. You talked about the local shops. Give me a little bit of background on where your thoughts are with the clinics and the grip events. What's that mean exactly?
Well, a clinic is going in and educating sales staff on product and giving them a better background on how to sell the product and what sets us apart from other discs within the disc golf realm. So that's the opportunity a clinic really is you're speaking to the audience that's selling the discs and creating an opportunity for them to get jazzed about the brand and to become more educated in how to sell it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
A clinic is something that happens, and again, we have a blueprint for this because we already do this with footwear as well. We go to RE, for those that are on there, REI is an easy one to grasp. We give REI staff clinics on 5 fingers and on soling compounds so that they can better sell and speak to our brand with confidence.
With the soling and the shoe, the shoe teams, what how you said it was going to be a small team for disc golf. How many folks do you have out there as far as brand reps for the shoes?
That's a good question.
You got a ballpark? Like, is it like 40, 50 or?
Roughly 20.
Oh, okay. So it's a pretty small team then too.
It is. That's not to say we actually have professional athletes that train in 5 fingers that can't really advertise they train in 5 fingers because they're endorsed by other brands. And that speaks to how great of a product that is. And it also speaks to how in tune they are with their training. And, that's something that, those are opportunities we really can't capitalize on as a result of that because of the ramifications of that. So the folks that we do have are all on our website on us.vibram.com, and they're our ambassador team. And there's some well-known names, some former professional athletes like Brian Bosworth that are a part of our ambassador team. And, if you look at that audience, I mean, they're very influential people, and they actually, all of them have pretty large followings of people behind them too.
Yeah, I mean, anybody that you can get that's got a little bit of following is going to be a huge plus. So with that being the case, I mean, you talk about the love of the sport, but let's say that you've got somebody out there that, may not be that much of a disc golf guy, but just loves Vibram. Like, let's say that we had somebody that saw this podcast that just happened to love Vibram 5 fingers and wanted to learn a little bit more about disc golf and try to push that brand. Is that something that you feel like, the training that's going to go behind this to get people out there on the street would support folks like that? Or is this somebody that's really going to have to know disc golf really well?
I think it's going to be a combination. It really has to be people that are enthusiastic about the brand, that feel strongly that our brand is underrepresented in the marketplace, and have unique skills and abilities already built in within their own makeup that can help us take those next steps. And then what we're going to be offering is the fine tuning. But for this initial start at it, and that's part of our vetting process. If you can't answer to completion the questions on the form, then at this point in time, it's probably not going to be an opportunity. However, if you're deficient in one area and proficient in another area, that can offset that. So sure. I go into this with an open mind, and I'm not biased in any way. I'm not looking at the name when I'm looking at the application. Looking at location, because that will play a role at some point. But I'm looking at how they answer things.
Sure.
And trying to vet from that what kind of opportunity they see this as.
Yeah. I think that's fair, because I mean, you want somebody that's excited about the opportunity. Do you feel like what's out there in this, couple paragraph post is enough to really explain the opportunity though? I mean, from what I think that's what a lot of people have questions on, right? I think that because it's so different, there's a lot of questions out there as far as, how will this, free shirts, free swag, free discs, discount cards, and chance to earn cash. I know that you can't give all the details of the contract, but is that something that once this team is selected, they will be given these tools up front to then go attack the market? Or is this something that you envision, hey, let's see what you're doing, and then we'll kind of reward you after? Has that?
Well, you couldn't send a carpenter to build a house without a hammer, a saw, and a nail apron and a level. So I wouldn't expect these people to help us build our brand without the right tools. So we will arm them with the physical assets they need, as well as the intellectual assets that they need. Because we are a pinnacle brand, we're not going to let anybody just roll out there and talk about the brand free-willing. There will be specific language. There will be things that can be addressed and things that can't be addressed. And there will be a way to defer those things that can't be addressed to somebody that can address them. We're not going to put people in a position to fail. This is only about success. And, you know, I would say, you know, it sounds as if there's people that have questions. There are over 120 that haven't. They've applied. It hasn't even been a week yet. So, you know, there's some competition out there. And if you keep asking questions and hesitating, know that more people are applying. And don't let an opportunity that you feel strongly about pass you by overthinking it.
I love that, man. We'll take a quick second to break here and thank you for being here and answering these questions. And I love the way that you put that, because it's true. You know, there's 120 people that have applied. Obviously, that's a decent population to work from, given the size that you're looking for. You know, for those of you that haven't been watching and just joining us, you know, we've got Jeff Laney, Vibram Disc Golf, going over the grip team details. Well, not all the details, but as much as he'll allow me to pull out of them and reword questions and that sort of thing. He's pretty good with that, though, guys, so there's not too much I'm going to be able to do. But we've got a lot of questions out there on social media that are circling around. Thanks again, guys, for being out there. Smash the like button, give a love, do whatever you got to do to let your friends know that we're out here chatting up Vibram Disc Golf. I think this is a huge opportunity for folks out there that go to the course every day. You just love being out there, and you've told your friends at work, and you dragged your friends at work. You know, you've grabbed your family, you brought them out there, you told your brother, you told your cousins. Everybody knows that you're playing disc golf now, and you're sharing the love that you're playing disc golf. All Jeff is asking you to do is get super excited, which most of you probably already are anyway if you're watching this podcast, to just get super excited about pushing Vibram Disc Golf, which is what you're doing anyway. So go to the website, which I'll post here once the podcast is done, because I forgot to put in the original link there. But go apply for the grip team. Tell your story. Give Jeff some details. Answer the survey. If you don't know about the survey, big deal. You don't know all the answers, but go to the bottom and explain why you're a disc golf guy and why you should be a good choice. This is something
honestly,
everybody
that's the most
should be out
important
there.
question.
Say that again, Jeff.
The bottom of the survey are the most important parts of the survey, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. In your own words.
Because it lets me know who you are. And, you know, I have to tell you, part of this was born out of watching the activity on the collectors group and watching what some of this audience does without provocation, without recognition from Vibram. And I'm floored by it. And I want to emulate it. I want to grow it. I want to seed it as far as I can, because there are people out there that have the answers, and I see it in their behaviors.
Yeah.
And this is a way to let them actually be a part of it. And my hope and belief is their love and appreciation for our brand is going to grow even more, and their investment is going to grow even more. And let's shoot for the moon here. In reality, what I want to create is a sales force at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
because I believe we make the best products in the marketplace, and we have the ability to make even better products. And we want to realize those opportunities, but it takes people. And who better to find those people? Where better to find them than from this audience that they're already in existence. They just haven't been engaged in this way.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, that makes complete sense. And it's true. I mean, it's one of those things. I mean, you know, I'm going to bring his name up. I brought him up at the beginning of the podcast. I mean, Bradley Bramlett's been doing a lot of stuff in the group just to show that he loves the group, just to show that he loves the people. I mean, it has nothing to do with him getting anything out of it necessarily. But it just makes him feel good. I mean, he's a great dude. I've never even met him, but I'm definitely giving him a big hug the first time I see him. But he's been sending out a bunch of minis and stuff like that. So you got guys like that, in my opinion, I'm pushing for him. I hope that he gets to be part of this because I think he's doing awesome stuff already. But let's say that you've got somebody, one of the questions that kind of cycled around multiple times was retailers. How are retailers involved? What can retailers do? Let's say we've got somebody out there. I mean, we've got a handful of retailers that are pushing the brand on their own, but they're not part of, any type of other team. Is that somebody that you would consider, or are you trying to keep the retailers separated from this grip team vision?
My preference would be to keep them separated, but as I said, especially the way they answer those questions on the bottom of the form might have everything to do with me being able to overlook that.
Okay. Awesome.
The interesting thing in that is, we're going to be asking people to help us grow our opportunities. I believe in small retail, always have, grew up, cut my teeth in retail. And I believe a disc golf retailer can help another disc golf retailer. And there's more to be gained by them helping rather than trying to cutthroat each other. So, if you are a savvy retailer and you see this as an opportunity, not just to help your own business, but to help our brand, which in turn helps your business, then by all means, do not hesitate to apply and let me know what you think you can do from your experience and your position that can help us.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, that's awesome, man. I mean, give them at least the chance to state their case, right? I mean, you can't be any more fair than that.
I would be a fool to turn a deaf ear on somebody that has good ideas.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So those of you out there that are, pushing things in the group, and I know quite a few of you retailers that I message with from time to time and try to convince you to do giveaways for the group and stuff. Jeff is telling you that you can be part of this vision. You can apply and try to go that extra level. So not only can you be a retailer, but you can also go the extra level and say, hey, not only am I a retailer, but I'll help you engage other retailers and do, events in the area and, work these clinics. I think that's great. And, putting league and all that type stuff. So do you envision, let's say that me, and I'm going to give you kind of a scenario story, and hopefully you can follow me because I'm a bad storyteller from time to time. But let's say that I'm one of these guys on the grip team. I go and I want to just, start getting to where I want to do a weekly event or a monthly event or whatever, and I want to sponsor something on a regular basis. Do you envision that this would be something that would fit into this kind of, into the grip team focus? So if I wanted to do a monthly, tournament, I know that you probably hear of the Heiser tournaments, the big Heiser tournaments that go around the regional. Would that be something that you would look at, or do you think that your grip events would probably cover some of the actual sponsored events from Vibram's side?
Well, first, we're going to use the word grip going forward. This goes back to one Vibram. We want to drive everything back to soling. We're a soling company first and foremost.
Okay.
That makes us unique in disc golf.
Yep.
People walk all over us every day and do so reliably.
Yep.
And we want to play on that word wherever and whenever we can. We are going to be announcing in the coming weeks kind of a loose announcement on grip events. Grip events will be performed in conjunction with grip team players and or brand reps and myself, but also at or with key retail partners. I envision no two events will ever be alike, and we're going to cater these to fit the needs and the business parameters of those key retail partners. And we're going to strategically start with some selective partners initially that we have strong relationships with, and then we're going to share this opportunity with a much larger audience. But to answer the question directly, I really can't, because one, I don't know what my budget for next year is at this point.
Okay. And
we would need to quantify how do we gauge a return on that kind of investment and what that investment is. But as I said, you know, I plan on surrounding myself with up to a couple dozen very smart people that can help formulate some ideas and plans. And it would be my hope that, you know, to be solution oriented. Let's go back to your scenario. Perhaps the way that works is using you as the example, Todd. I say, well, let's work with your local Vibram Disc Golf retailer on this event. Let's split those expenses, but let's do what we can to help their business and help the local disc golf scene and help them become more entrenched in it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the key, right? I mean, getting these guys excited to run an event, but to do it with a little bit of support is, I mean, I have, the only event that I've ever run has been a birdie bash myself, and I had an absolute blast doing it. So I'm not experienced as far as a TD is concerned, but you know, I can't imagine that it's easy to walk up to a disc golf company and say, hey, you know, I want you to be the main sponsor of this event. Do you see, you know, obviously we had the Vibram Open, but, you know, with that, I mean, do you feel like that's going to be something that will be 2018, or will that be back down the road again before we see Vibram Disc Golf as a headliner for a tournament?
We are not going to focus on pros. We're going to focus on everyday players going forward.
Okay.
They make up the majority. And our business, I mean, let's face it, we have 17 molds. We offer them in 7 colors. We're a very small company. And if we're going to properly allocate our funds and help grow our position and potentially be able to look at getting a better return for pro sponsorship in the future, we have to grow our position first. So for the immediate future, we're going to focus on everyday players, and we're going to focus on supporting those everyday players through regional grassroots events, through our retail partners. And by no means will these events all be tournaments per se. We're going to offer the opportunity to really be thinking outside the box too. Anything we can do to get a disc in a hand and have people work.
Heck yeah.
You know, I've seen putting leagues at breweries be very effective. So I don't want to pigeonhole ourselves into it actually has to be an event. I also foresee a future where, you know, churches and organizations and companies could have disc golf events in their parking lots for team building opportunities. And why wouldn't we want to be a part of some of those down the road? It builds an affiliation with our brand with those people, and it exposes a larger audience to disc sports.
Yeah, I think that's key, and I'm glad to hear you say that, because I know if you had an opportunity to tune into podcast 13, you know, I had a conversation with Ben Overbeek, who is huge in the Vibram Disc Golf community, I feel, and, you know, he's one of the admins of the Vibram Disc Golfer group, and, you know, really is a colleague of mine in a lot of ways. And I say colleague just because he helps me do work, you know, and the fact that I'm setting up these podcasts and stuff, he's been a huge help for me testing all that. But he brought up a lot of really strong concerns that, you know, even myself has, as being a dad and having young kids. You know, he's concerned that the typical environment of a tournament or, you know, hosting a big event just doesn't fit with his world, because he's a teacher and he has kids that he's teaching disc golf to. So he may not necessarily be pushing Vibram Disc Golf to those folks. So he was concerned that, you know, he may not even be a good fit, because he's not going to walk up to somebody and say, hey, go, you know, to a mom or a dad, you know, go buy Vibram Disc Golf. He's just saying, hey, I want your kid to love disc golf. How do we address folks like that and say, hey, here's how Vibram can help support you in that statement and in that mission?
You know, at this time, I really couldn't answer that question directly, because some of that will be in the contract language. But, you know, regretfully, when I look at that particular scenario, you know, we are going to have folks that are representing our brand. And this, again, being solution oriented, the solution very well could be, whether it's Ben or if it's not him and it's somebody else in his area that is a grip team member, perhaps they come to that audience and they speak to that audience with him, and he just kind of presents the opportunity for a grip team member to come and do that.
Sure,
It still gives the opportunity to put discs in the hand. Obviously you're not going to make a sales pitch to that kind of audience that's brand centric.
Yeah.
But you are going to highlight, the fact that all the discs provided for the event are Vibram discs, and there would be some Vibram swag, and it would definitely have a feeling of a Vibram event. But we're not going to be there to brainwash them to only think of Vibram when they think of disc golf. We want them to walk away thinking that was really cool. I learned a lot about disc golf, and I learned Vibram is an important brand when it comes to disc golf.
Hey, you know what though, man? I like it because you're not telling me that this is for everybody, which is what I think that the initial statement and the way that it rolls out almost frames it that anybody can apply. It's for everybody, but it's really not, right? It's not going to be a good fit for everybody to do this grip team, and that's just a fact. You're going to have to. It's like I tell people in sales. When I was a salesman years ago, I had my team, and I tell them, you have to actually go sell. You're going to have to pick up the phone and have a conversation. You're going to have to go to a course and push the brand. You're not going to be able to say that you're part of a team just to say that you're part of a team. You're actually going to have to do some work. So that transitions me to a question with regard to social media. There was a question that popped up in the group here. For those guys that don't really have a really strong social media presence, they're on social media, they're part of the Vibram Disc Golf Collectors group, for example, but they're not really, they're not a freak like me that's going out and just has no problem putting his face out there every day and talking to people and all that. They just love the brand and would probably be just good guys just on the course. I mean, are those people that are being considered, or is social media going to be a pretty big part of this?
Again, those last two questions are really where it's all at. As I said, you could be, again, we're looking at skill sets here. So this isn't a personal direction when I say this. You could be deficient in certain areas as an individual and make up for that with proficiencies elsewhere. Sure. And, using that as an example, you could be deficient with social media skills. I, for one, do not have an active Facebook account. It's just not something I'm into.
That's cool.
But you could make up for that in more ways than one. And I would say, give me examples, cite reasons, differentiate yourself. Give us a reason to say, hey, you know what? This person's not strong in social media, but they're strong at doing this. And this is important. This is important. That's why we're saying it is for everybody. It's for everybody in that it's not just pigeonholed into one group of people. It's for the larger group of people. But when you break it down on an individual basis, yes, it's not for everybody, because it's ultimately it's people that want to see our brand grow, people that don't mind having conversations about our brand. Perhaps you're not strong on social media, but perhaps you travel. I'll use the area I grew up in, because Kentucky has the third most counties of any state.
Does it really? Okay.
Yeah, you could sneeze.
Interesting fact here, folks. There you go. Kentucky has the third most counties.
Might be fourth, but it's top four. It's like 151 counties.
Okay.
You could sneeze and be in another county. You could be somebody there that's
a little gerrymandering going on over there, huh?
That you're not into social media, and you know what? I don't blame you. That's cool. But you may travel a 5 or 6 county radius on a regular basis, playing a dozen to a dozen and a half courses on a regular basis where people know you by name.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's an influencer. That's somebody that's important.
Yeah,
now the thing to do, or what I would be looking for out of that individual, is how do you quantify that in words to me so that I can understand the value you bring? And that's where individual skill set is important. How do you portray your value to me so that I can clearly understand it? And make no mistake about it, we'll have other follow-up questions as we start drilling this large group down. So that we make sure we're vetting the right people, and we make sure that we're putting people in a position to be successful, and that we make sure, again, learning from my mistakes with the current pro team, make sure that we can deliver on what we set out to do, and not setting anybody up for failure from either side of the table.
Yeah, I think that's yeah, I mean that you can't really put it much better. I mean, you want everybody to be successful. I mean, but one thing that you brought up is you talked about narrowing this list down. You mentioned around 120 applications. That was before tonight. So I'm assuming that those folks that may have been on the fence, getting some answers from you tonight, will hopefully move forward and complete their application. But one thing that kind of transitioned me to that was a question that I don't remember who presented it, but one of the questions was, is there going to be multiple levels to the grip team concept? And if so, how do you envision that breakdown to be? Like, will there be, hierarchy, like this guy's a senior dude and this guy's a junior guy, or it's going to be a flat look, you think?
Well, it's a team, and to me, a team, everybody has an equal part and an equal role. But the big thing is we're managing this the same way that we manage all of our other ambassador programs, and in that, everybody is an equal player. Now within that statement, there's also differentiating factors because again, everybody has a different skill set that's on our current footwear ambassador team, and that's what we want to focus on and hone on. If using you as an example, Todd, and me as an example, it wouldn't make sense for us to say between the two of us, let's manage Jeff on social media and Todd on door-to-door sales. When in fact, the opposite would be the better statement. Let's have Todd manage social media and Jeff do door-to-door sales.
Right.
That fits their skill set, their availability much better. I don't have kids. I don't have that commitment. So I have the time to go do that. Where for you, it's much easier to be at home. And that's, again, where we want to put people in positions to be successful. And for this to actually be something that they want to be a part of. And that they feel engagement, that they feel acknowledgement. At the same time, we want to give them some autonomy so that they have the ability to inflect their own personal skills and personality into this too. So that it's not a door-to-door salesman opportunity. And it's, again, I don't envision a situation where somebody's going to go in and review our entire line of discs. We're not going to be asking that.
Right.
This is more about, again, I'll use that example of a guy in Kentucky going county to county. He's going to play Idlewild, and he pops in a disc shop in Florence, Kentucky, and says, "Hey, I noticed you don't have any Vibram discs. What gives? Are people coming in and asking for them?" Just engaging in some simple conversations, and maybe there's a set of 2 or 3 questions that can help us better understand that retailer. And then that individual would leave a business card that would likely have their name and the Vibram brand rep's name. And then they would follow up with that Vibram brand rep and say, "Hey, I just stopped in this disc store in Florence, Kentucky, and I spoke to so-and-so. He had this to say and this to say, and I told him to expect to hear from you soon. Keep me in the loop. Let me know how it goes." And, and then, in a perfect world, that would lead to an account being open, which there would be some sort of kickback on. And then we would want to keep that relationship going. So, anytime that individual goes in there and we get a subsequent order or our business grows, we're going to acknowledge that.
What about the folks that aren't comfortable going to a retailer, but they go to a lot of local events and they do the weeklies? Like here in Charlotte, they have weeklies. I mean, we call them weeklies, but they're every day of the week. Like there's literally a disc golf, a mini tournament every single day of the week. It just depends on where you feel like driving to. So with circumstances like that where you have the folks, I mean, I know there's a lot of guys here locally that go to every single one of those events. Every day of the week they're going and doing something else, but they may not necessarily go and talk to a retailer. Are they going to have the ability, you think, of having that same sort of, kickback concept that says, hey, I've got business cards with my, whatever, I'm 007. So I'm code 007, right? So, every time you see 007 come across, that somebody talked to me to buy a disc. I mean, is that something that those folks will be able to capitalize on, that type of structure, I guess, too?
First off, you're a man after my heart using the 007 reference. I'm a huge Bond fan.
Right on, man.
I wanted to name my dog Bond. my wife would have none of it. Yes, we will have a mechanism in place for that. And that's how our current structure with our brand ambassadors works. But we're going to modify it a little bit for disc golf as well, so that there is additional opportunities, not just the one opportunity of handing out a card with a code that goes to our website.
Yeah, that's fair. You know, there's a lot of conversation. I mean, people were really getting in on this conversation about, you know, starting them young and you know, the grassroots concept and getting kids involved. You know, we talked about this a little bit on the last podcast, and we talked about how the cost is what it is, and it's difficult to get the cost down. But do you envision, you know, with this, you know, the grip events coming forward, you know, a lot of people love the Birdie Bash because it allowed these guys to introduce it to kids because it was such a simple concept and it was cost effective as well. I know it's difficult to manage, but do you envision this new grip event coming forward? That's something that guys like this that are really hot about trying to get kids involved, will they be able to use this grip event to do that?
Well, first and foremost, it would, you know, that's going to depend on the local retail partnerships, because you know, the grip events will work through them. Without a retail partner, there won't be one.
Oh wow!
So,
okay.
You know, what we want to be doing is supporting retailers. Again, we want to do something different that nobody else is doing, and we're not going to follow a set of rules. But we also believe in making the sport accessible to youth. My wife is a teacher, so I feel very strongly about that. And there'll be more to come on some of the levers that we'll have to pull in doing that. But I would say stay tuned. 2018, I'm not going to be misleading. We're not going to introduce a bunch of new molds. We're going to introduce some other stuff that's going to have people pretty excited, and that could be from the appearance of our products to the cost of our products.
Awesome. Well, you know, the appearance of the products has been a big thorn in the side of the majority of the collectors out there. You know, we fell in love with the uniqueness and the funkiness, but then they came out with solids. But I think solids still, you know, appeal to the mass market because, I mean, the majority of other discs are solids as well. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But you talk about going through retailers. So if I'm hearing this correctly, somebody like Benno would be able to talk to his retailer and say, hey, I want to do this grip event, but I want it geared towards women and kids. So I only want to get the Onyx, the Valley, the Vamp, Summits, and Ridges, and the Launch and the Ibex. Those are the only molds I'm concerned with, and can I get them in lightweights? Is that something he would be able to do?
Without, you know, short of saying yes, because we're not there yet, that is a workable scenario.
Okay, cool.
You know, there would be levers that need to be pulled within that, and it would need to fit, and it would need to be within our budget and how we're allocating those funds. But that's the very kind of event we want to be a part of.
Okay, cool. So
and you know, the thing about having that retailer there is it's twofold. One, they are purveyors and protectors of our brand, so they can speak as experts, and that's what we want. But more importantly, they are the local presence for disc golf. So we're trying to strengthen the bond between the retailers and those that are getting discs in their hand to go out and play, and in many cases, new people, people with unfound and unrealized skill sets and potentials, because they need to know who those experts are and where to go. And I can't tell you how many times I'm surprised that I get a submission from somebody saying, hey, I'm new to disc golf. I don't know where to find discs locally. And I can just, without even looking, know exactly who the local retailer is, whether they're a Vibram dealer or not. And that, to me, speaks of just tremendous opportunity.
So when you talk about a local retailer, let's say that, you know, I've got a retailer that's willing to travel. So I'm buddies with a guy, you know, that is a retailer out of state, or he's a retailer that's 3-4 hours away, but he's willing to support me in this event. We're cool with that? Or are you trying to truly keep it like, if I want to run an event, you would want me to talk to somebody in Charlotte to support that event?
We want it to affect the local scene, because we want to create a strong foundation. And while I certainly don't want to say no, I'm not a big fan of saying no. I would find a workable solution. If there were absolutely none, we would look at what are the extreme alternatives.
Okay. So let me frame this question then. With the focus being on local retailers, local events, and kind of spreading wide, grassroots, that sort of thing, is there a concept or a vision for a world championships sort of conglomeration after these events? So like how the Birdie Bash had, basically one big event that it all led up to. Is this grip event going to be a series like that?
I just stated that I don't like saying no. So let me think of how I want to answer this.
Budget pending.
No. Here's the thing. We don't want to follow a mold that somebody else has already created. That's not fair to anybody.
But the Birdie Bash was awesome, though, man. The Worlds was pretty awesome.
It was, but that was at its time and place.
Okay.
The '68 Rally Sport Yinko was also awesome, but thankfully they only made them then. And I think that we would be foolish to try to revisit something that Steve did so well, and and try to emulate something somebody else has done. Keep in mind to something I said earlier in the conversation, and that is no two of these are going to be the same, and there is no blueprint. The only thing that will be the same is the word grip. So, you may find a situation where it's a parking lot glow event. You may find another situation where it's too windy and the weather doesn't allow, but it's an opportunity to do an indoor putting league event somewhere. We are going to be open to the ideas, but the big thing is initially, these are all going to be through our retailers. Okay. This isn't going to be open to the public per se. If the public has ideas and they want to take them to their local retailers, I think that's a great way to start building these relationships. But ultimately, we want to go to our key retail partners initially for these first few events and say, what would you like to do that's unique? What is within what's your dream event? It does. Let's not even have parameters. It does not have to take place at a disc golf course. Let's wipe everything off the table of what everybody else does, and let's say, what is your dream disc golf event, and how can we be a part of that, and how can we form a partnership through the event? How can we market it? Who's our target audience, and what does it take to pull this off?
Yeah.
And you're going to find those needs are different everywhere. You may find a retailer say, hey, look, I have this tech company that's been coming in and hounding me for the last 3 years, wanting to do something, and I hate to keep using this word, but wants to do something in their parking lot for their employees. And they have 6,000 employees. Let's do something with them. Okay, that's something that's different and unique. We don't want to do the same thing. That's not to say we're not going to be doing tournaments or events that are local, but they're not going to be pro events, and they're going to be open events that anybody can be a part of.
I think that's cool. So would these be PDGA sanctioned and all that? I mean, will that flexibility be there?
That's going to depend on what that retailer wants to do.
Okay, cool. So
just know there's more cost with that, so that limits the number of it we can do.
Yeah, absolutely. So with this, is there any vision around it being a 2-disc package or a 3-disc package? Nothing, huh? So a little bit of flexibility. So let's see what's out there and see what retailers want to participate in. I like that because that gives somebody like, the other night we were talking to Michael Taliaferro from Disc Bite, and then we also talked to Brad Silvers, who is, for all accounts, in the middle of nowhere from, it sounds like, with regards to having access to retailers that carry Vibram. So this would be something that he'd be able to go into that local retailer that doesn't carry Vibram and say, hey, look, dude, this is a great way for you to test this product out. Run a Vibram event. You stock 100 discs, but you get rid of, call it 60 at the event, and then you can, see how it's a great tester, right?
It is, and you kind of hit the nail on the head with a great scenario there. And again, I don't mean to sound negative in any of those responses, but we really don't want there to be a blueprint for this.
Yeah,
there will
like
be
that.
there will be in a sense, but I don't want people thinking of these in terms, and we'll fine tune it as we announce it more and more. But initially, we're going to partner with key retailers so that they can help us better define what some of the parameters would be. And after we've done a few, then we'll be able to offer it to an even larger audience. But initially, it's going to be with the support of our retailers, our grip team members, our brand reps, and or myself. And we're going to make sure that between the retailer and either the brand rep, the grip team member, myself, that there's two different entities there supporting the brand, so that we have the ability to make sure we get maximum impact out of the opportunity. But we really want to follow rule number one and have fun. And to me, a lot of times when you get the PDGA involved, who's a great organization, we make it inaccessible to a large number of people, and we don't want to do that. We want this sport to be accessible, to be that vehicle that helps them recognize that, and then for them, through continued play and growth of skill, to pursue those PDGA events and to take those next steps if that's what they desire. But keep in mind, the larger number of people may play disc golf a great part of their life and never play in a PDGA event.
Yeah, no, I played in PDGA event and it was a joke. I'm not good enough, right? And the majority of the people that you see on the course aren't good enough to be in an event. I've got a buddy of mine I was messaging with the other day, and we were talking about it being PDGA events, and he's like, I don't have a PDGA number because it's the amount of tournaments I play a year. It's worth the extra $10 to just pay the extra $10 for the tournament than it is to pay for the annual membership, right? I think there's a lot of folks out there like that.
What if you could pay to get a number in the NFL and show up and play in a game? Do you think that'd be fun?
Yeah, right.
It wouldn't. You would have the experience of saying you did it, and that's about it. You might not even remember it being football. But and that's a harsh extreme to compare it to. But for a lot of people, that's what their PDGA experience is, and that's why we want to focus on a large audience of people that play every day. When you're on a course at a given moment in the summer at its peak hours, and there are several dozen, if not 100 people out there, what percentage of them are pros versus Joes and Jills?
Yeah, for sure.
And
the pros always play with the pros anyway, right? Very rarely are they going to intermingle with us, little guys on the course, right? Scrubs,
and it's understandable. I would not want to go play in a pro basketball pickup game.
That's why I have no disc golf friends, y'all. I'm not good enough.
I always appreciate playing with people that are better than me because that's a great learning opportunity. But if you did that every time you played, you'd get frustrated pretty quick.
Oh yeah, absolutely, no doubt about it. So, there's a lot of comments out there. One thing I had to give you, Michael Taliaferro is super stoked about this podcast right now, man. He says that he is setting up a 2-disc tournament on his other screen right now. He is getting ready. He doesn't even know if you're announcing anything, but he is putting it out there right now. You heard it here first. Taliaferro is getting some things rocking, and I love it. You've got a lot of excitement out here, man. I'm going to scroll through some comments because I think it's exciting and it's making me excited. Vinny, you're welcome for the platform, sir. You've got Wade out there talking about doing a 2-disc safari round, which I think would be awesome. Taliaferro's talking about doing it as a B-tier, making it a legit, tournament that would get it out there. Obviously, Brian Prokop is monitoring the group, and he put it out there just like you mentioned earlier. For those of you who may have missed, putting league, clinics, kids only, glow rounds, doubles, birdie bash rules, ace race rules, standard rules, grip events are everything. I think that's awesome, man, and seeing this excitement out there is really cool. One thing that I think. We all get excited. We get super stoked about stuff like this. And then we go, all right, let's sit back and talk about the real deal here. Where do you see this, and I've seen it in the group here right now, but I've heard it multiple times. Where do you envision this being, 3, 5, 7 years from now? What's the long-term shot for this thing, you think?
Well, it's interesting because I have a vision, but because we've never really realized our place in the sport of disc golf, uh, coupled with the limitations that our business unit presents, being that we're not focused solely on disc golf, like how I threw solely out there, the sky is actually the limit. We feel we have the ability to be a top 4 brand in the sport, but you look at who we are as a company, largely as a soling company, using that as an example, because that's what we've done very well for 80 plus years. If we only concentrated on the top level of folks, our products wouldn't be synonymous with the best rubber soles in the world. And that's the thing we always want to have within our focus is the everyday user. Plays a critical role in our past, in our present, and in our future. And it's high time we start giving them credit and devoting time to them. I think the grip team could grow in numbers. I foresee a situation where it should. I'm not going to really share my pie in the sky ideas because I don't want to dilute what we're going to be doing on the more immediate end of things, and I also don't want to set ourselves up for failure by creating an unrealistic expectation. But
yeah,
I believe this is our best path as a brand, and part of this is not following the rules of other disc golf companies because we are different. We are the only company in disc golf that can make some of the claims that we can, and rather than seeing that as something that's negative, it is actually something that's quite positive. No other disc golf company has 80 years of experience. So that's something we can really play on and
just
leverage.
Business, right? Just business driven anyway.
And use with the relationships that we've created.
Yeah.
And it's high time we start doing that. And, I have a platform that I inherited from Steve Dodge that enables me to do that. And I'm thankful for that opportunity. And now I want to share that opportunity with people that just feel a strong love for the brand and want to be a part of something because they want to be a part of it.
Yeah, I hear that. So let's say that we all get out there and we push this thing and it really hits the ground running and blows it out. Is manufacturing going to be able to support? Let's say a perfect scenario happens. Let's say that we double sales in the first quarter of the year by this grip team. Is that something that manufacturing is going to be able to support within the warehouse? Like what's the anticipation for the ramp up for this?
Well, it's going to be a good problem to have.
Yeah, no doubt.
And our internal processes and internal departments have the abilities to accommodate. We are managing the business much differently than we have previously, and our plans to do so in the future will allow for us to do that. And we'll share more on that in the coming weeks. The grip events won't take place really. They won't get up and running until the first part of next year. Okay. They're not in the budget for this year, but we want to get some creative thinking behind it, and we'll get a couple. We will drive the first few on the calendar, so that we make sure we are working with people that can help us create the best opportunities. But once we get a few under our belts, then we'll start opening it up more. And as we do that, we'll have a firm grasp on the velocity of things and be able to react accordingly.
So are you opposed to the idea that, let's say this goes so great, a huge roll, snowball's going, everything's doing well? I mean, let's say that you're in a position that you need some more support. I mean, is this something that you may open grip team up midway through the year? Or are you definitely saying what we start the year with is what we're going to end the year with?
To use the term I used earlier, adjust and adapt.
Yeah.
If it's beyond our control, then we'll have to do something to help gain control on it. And that's why I encourage people to to keep applying. Just because we may say no right now doesn't mean the future doesn't present an opportunity. Keep in mind, Michael Jordan got cut from his high school basketball team several times before he made the team.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, that's fair. So, with this whole approach, it seems to me that, the best analogy, that I brought up in the last podcast too is, the shotgun approach, right? We're taking a blast at it. Let's see, we don't quite have the sniper rifle to where we know exactly where we want to shoot, so we're going to shoot a little bit wider scope and kind of see what works. I think that's good and bad. It's good because it opens you up to a lot of opportunity for new ideas, but it's bad in that, it kind of makes it, in my mind at least, it would make it difficult to measure. How do you anticipate, if you've got a grip team of 20 folks, I mean, is there going to be something where you're comparing, guy 1 against guy 2 and lady 1 against lady 2, or is this just going to be more of a fluid interaction? Or is that even something that's...
I think part of that might be there's some overthinking going on there. But we will vet the right people. We'll put the right people in the right positions to be successful, ourselves included. Remember earlier when I said both sides of the table, we want to make sure that it is amicable for both parties. And we're not going to put, I'm not going to compare one person to another because, let's use South Dakota and Texas. I get somebody from South Dakota from Deadwood. Let's say that they're great. They're big in the local scene.
I have no clue where that is.
And they could play a role in an area that's geographically challenged in terms of population density. And then I have somebody in Dallas, Texas that can affect more people. It's not fair to judge those two. It's the quality of the work, the quality of what they bring, their individual skill sets, and the content they give us, whether it's social media content, visual content, written content, opening new accounts, supporting through clinics, any number of channels. This is about individuals. It's not about judging everybody through the same filter.
Makes sense. I mean, I think that's fair. I mean, I think it's one of those things, right, that especially if you've got folks that are awesome on the course and then you've got folks that are good social media, I mean, it's almost impossible to put them on a level playing field anyway, right?
Correct.
Okay, I got that. That's fair. I think that's good. What about, the focus for, those folks out there, the pros out there that, we're part of Team Vibram. We talked earlier about them being, focused on doing tournaments and that sort of thing. But let's say that they come up and they say, "Hey, Jeff, I'm willing to put in a little extra work and go and do the tournaments, but also go hit up retailers." I mean, are these guys going to get, so there's 20 of them out there. At least let's say that all these guys come back and they say they want to do it still. I mean, are those guys getting grandfathered in, you think, or how's that going to work?
I would say I'm going to manage this like any other person that makes a personnel decision. I'm going to put the best people in the best positions for the best opportunity of success. I'm a Cubs fan, so we use that as an example. If Theo Epstein sat down and says, "All right, I'm just going to sign all my current team to new contracts next year," knowing that we lost the National League Championship Series this year and knowing that power hitting, pinch hitting, making contact with the ball, and relief pitching were all issues for us, and we're going to expect the same thing or expect a different result by putting the same people out there? No. And I have to look at what's fair. Again, we have individuals on the team. I'm happy to share this, and I'm happy that this is the case, that have already applied. I don't want to provoke somebody into applying. They need to apply because they want to apply. I'm not going to ask people individually to apply because we're already off to a bad start.
Yeah.
If I have to ask you to do something, if you don't want to do it, hey, you know what? It's not for you. And again, I would say, going back to all those names that I brought up earlier, the people on our team, I'm appreciative of what they've done for us. I've learned from what I was able to accomplish, and I've learned from the challenges that we experienced this year, which for some were many, because this business is changing, and I have to change and adapt with it, and the concept of our team formatting does as well. And I'm not going to judge through biased glasses. I'm not going to say just because they were on the team and they applied, they're going to be on the new team.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because what if there's a better fit in their same town?
Yeah, yeah.
And what if I'm able to understand some of the frustrations they may have experienced this year, and know that, you know, that might not be something some of them can get past. And I understand that. Again, you know, the business changed, and you know, their expectations didn't change because I presented it in a way at the beginning of the year that, hey, this is going to be more of the same. In fact,
Right.
The only thing that'll be different is you'll hear from me more. And I wasn't able to deliver on that because there were so many things with this business that needed attention, and so many changes that needed to be made internally behind the scenes that really don't affect the product whatsoever, that I wasn't able to devote the time that I said I could. And that's, from their position, that wasn't easy. And I get that. And I own it. And, you know, I'm sorry that happened, but know this, those experiences will help create great new experiences, because I don't want to go down that road again, and I don't want to overpromise and underdeliver. That's not what we're going to do. Again, this blueprint is already established, and it's in alignment with what we're doing as a brand. And if I would say to anybody that's on the team, if you're on the team and you want to apply, apply. If you're skeptical, I understand your skepticism. This probably isn't for you. We wish all those people the very best going forward. We're appreciative of everything they've done. And we hope that we hear from them in the future, because we feel that this is going to be a fun journey, and we're going to grow, and they should feel a part of that when they see it, whether they're currently a part of it or they are in the future or not. We want them to know that they should feel like they're a part of that and take pride and ownership in the steps that we take in the future to grow.
And I think that's, you know, like I said at the end of the last podcast, I made a point to thank those guys, you know, and encourage them to apply too. But, you know, if you sit there and as a person out there that's a fan of disc golf and you don't know the history of Vibram Disc Golf, take some time and go learn the history of Vibram Disc Golf, because there's been some amazing guys that have got us to this point. I mean, there's no doubt about that.
And there have. And I will say, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
You know, one of the things we have to look at is a map and where people are located, and that's going to play a role. And that in itself creates attrition from our current team, just because of where geographically they're located. You know, a lot of them are condensed in an area that doesn't represent the greatest opportunities, and having that many people on the team in those areas prevent us from areas where we do have tremendous opportunities to grow. And we have to look at that.
So with that being said, you know, you're looking at the region. So let's say that you have two awesome guys. You know, this Texas crowd, I mean, these guys in Texas are nuts, man. I mean, you've got some amazing guys down there in Texas that are really doing a great job pushing the Vibram brand. So, you know, if you've got 4 or 5 guys in that area that are applying for this position, I mean, should they be excited? Should they be nervous? Should they be, you know, beating each other up? I mean, should they be cutting brake lines? I mean, how should they be treating this thing?
I would say we're not saving the world of any sort of ill, and hopefully their life isn't dependent on it. So they shouldn't be.
That's fair. That's fair.
And apply if you want to apply. Apply if you feel you can bring something to the table. Don't apply if you're skeptical. Don't apply if you have a negative attitude. Don't apply if you don't want to be solution oriented. You know, and the rest will take care of itself. You know, Texas is a big place. There's a lot of disc golf courses there. So certainly there's, you know, as far as states go, it's, you know, one of the top 10 in terms of opportunity.
Yeah, I think that's obvious. Yeah, it's a lot of opportunity there in Texas. So those guys, you guys in Texas, you know, put in your application. give it some thought. One of the questions out there was, how about an official resume submission? I mean, is that something that you want to consider, or is that a little bit too formalized for this approach?
We'll have to go back to the grip event, Well, I'll just say this. Anytime I've ever applied for anything, if I want it, I do what I can to get it.
Yeah.
And that doesn't go unnoticed. So I don't want to answer that directly, because if an individual wants to do that, they should do it because they want to do it.
Yep. That's fair. Hey, that's good. So those of you out there, what Jeff just did was called you out and said, if you really want it, you got to prove that you want it. So, a question that came out early on, you mentioned that you're not on Facebook. How do people get in touch if they have questions that weren't answered tonight, or let's say that, they just want to pester you, tell you how much they love you and how much they love Vibram Disc Golf, and they just want to state their case in another manner. Is there a way for them to do that right now, or is that chain of communication simply, submit your application and make sure that your statement is strong and solid in that application, and you're going to go from there?
As far as applying for the team right now, that's the filter.
Okay.
Keep in mind, I've been working since 6 a.m. this morning, and that's, most days I'm at it from 5 or 6 a.m. till 5 or 6 p.m. So I need a little time to breathe, and I have time set aside to sift through those. But reaching outside of that mechanism is reaching outside of what we've asked people to do.
Yeah.
And
okay,
that could be a warning flag. And I don't want somebody's enthusiasm to be crushed by that statement, but we've asked that it come that direction. I would say the general inquiry lever on VibramDiscGolf.com website, those all come to me.
Okay.
That's another way, but know that I still have to filter those through, up to a couple hundred emails a day as well.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So, I don't often get back the first day. Chris Lewandowski can attest to that. Your winner tonight. Yeah. It took me a couple days to get back to him, and because I generally don't want to just get back with 2-sentence responses.
Yeah, I hear that.
I want to get some depth and some meat to what I'm saying, especially if it's a good inquiry. Yeah. But I think we will be able to vet through these people very well, and then don't be surprised if there's a second round of questions that may go out in an email to a number of individuals, so we can learn more and make sure that it's going to be a good fit. I can say that everybody that applied will hear from us in some way, shape, or form.
Good. That was the next question I was going to ask, because somebody in the group asked it very directly and said, hey, is everybody going to find out yay or nay on this thing? So you just answered that. Yes, you are. Okay, I like that.
Yeah, everybody will hear from us. But, this is open till the end of the year. And, we'll slowly but surely start filtering some of it very soon. So some people will hear from us in the next few weeks. Mm-hmm. But we're my days right now, a lot of them are focused on end of year and planning for next year. So, I have some priorities in front of it. And that's one of the beauties of this opportunity lasting through the end of the year, is it buys me time to take care of those other responsibilities first and foremost, so that when I do sit down and really go through this, I am able to focus on it. I am a clear mind, and I have a better picture of how next year's shaping up, so that I can make the best decisions for everybody involved.
Yep, I think that's fair. And I think anybody that's serious about business and getting involved can appreciate that too. So I think that's good. Well, we're coming up. We've got just a couple of minutes, 9 minutes until 8 o'clock. For those of you that missed it, I did a giveaway, and my initial giveaway from the YouTube was supposed to be a gift card and a deck of cards, but I announced it as a float mini of your choice, Chris. So you can actually have the choice. If you want the scorecard and the deck of cards instead of a mini, you are welcome to that. So that's what we're looking for. Give me 1 second here, Jeff. I'm just going to do one quick thing. All right, so got that giveaway. We've got another giveaway coming up. But Jeff, before we get into giveaways and transition over to Hawks Nest and Chris, let's finish up with some final thoughts. I feel like you've answered pretty much every question that was out there, that I feel like is comfortable to go over in this type of setting. I feel like there's some questions, obviously, that, some people need to ask on an individual basis, and that's fair. When do you anticipate announcing the team? When is next steps? Can I have you on the podcast to go through the list of names and call them all out? No, I'm just joking. So when's the next steps? Like, when can we expect to hear from you again?
We won't name the team till January.
Okay.
I mean, it's open till December 31st. Because it's open until then, it's not fair to assign positions when we still want to let other people apply.
Yeah.
And that's not fair to anybody. I foresee this kicking in. Let's look at it. I have show season January and February and beginning of March, trade shows. I realistically seeing this really kicking into gear, boots on the ground sometime in March, just in time for spring season.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, there you go, guys. Beginning of the year, you'll hear an announcement, and then coming up in March, hoping to hit it hard and heavy. Here's what we're going to do. We are going to wrap up with Jeff here over the next couple of moments. I am then going to take a quick break, and I am going to get Chris from Hawks Nest Disc Golf hooked up. We'll come back from that break. I will announce my next giveaway, and then actually I have two giveaways. We'll announce those, and I think Chris might have a giveaway for us too. So stay on. Once I'm done with Jeff, I'll flip over to the slideshow. I'm going to use the facilities and refill my drink, that sort of thing. Then we'll be right back with Chris. So Jeff, thank you so much for coming and talking to us tonight. I mean, just looking at the traffic in the feed, I mean, it's obvious that people are excited about this. It's obvious that, there's always going to be questions out there that, may slip through the cracks. But I think once we go back and we rechurn these past 2 hours, we'll all agree that there's a really positive image and a positive outlook for what's coming in 2018. So I think that's awesome, man. What's the last thing that you want to put out there to the family before we let you go?
I would say heading into this weekend, for all of you that are veterans, we appreciate your service and thanks for your service to the country.
Absolutely, man. I think that's awesome.
Because I know there's a lot of veterans amongst that group, so I want to give them that acknowledgement.
Yeah, I think that's great. All right, guys. Jeff came on, answered all our questions. I feel like put you guys in a better spot. The first winner of the night was Chris Lewandowski, so he got the first one. Stay tuned. I'm going to go on a break. We'll come back. We'll get Chris hooked up, and we will announce our next winner. So you want to make sure, because the next winner, hoping you'll be online so you can answer me right away. Jeff, thank you so much, man. I look forward to doing this again in the near future and having you on, and we'll chat this thing up, brother.
Cool. Thanks. Hey, have a great night, everybody.
Thanks. All right, everybody, we are back. I appreciate you being patient with me and working with the short break. We'll give it a couple minutes for people to get back dialed in and get excited and get. I'm assuming everybody's refilling their drinks and using the restroom. That's what I had to do. But if you missed it earlier, we gave away an option for the scorecard, the Vibram Disc Golf Collectors Group scorecards, an erasable scorecard. There's a PVC one, and then this one is a foam board covered in PVC, but it's pretty sweet. You can erase those and work with that, and a deck of cards. So Chris Lewandowski, you have the option of the scorecard and deck of cards, or your choice of a float mini. We are going to do another giveaway here in just a moment for another float mini. Basically what I did is I asked you guys to go out there and share a post and kind of spread the love of this podcast. So I greatly appreciate that. So what I've done is I've set this up and I've got a random order on the screen. So what I'm going to look for, I've got numbers on the screen from 1 to 172. So Chris, if you would, give me a random number between 1 and 172.
I'll go with the number that I always was my my sports number growing up, and also the day of my birthday. Let's go with 13.
All right, so we're going to go with 13. And what I've got is a random order. So what I did, everybody, is I took the list of names. You tagged somebody in the post in most cases. So on each person, I've copied one row that says your name, and then one row that says your name and the person you tagged is the way that it pastes over from Facebook. So the way that this is going to work is whoever's on row 13 here is going to actually set up to where if it's their name, they win. If it's the person they tag, then it's their win. So the person that we have that is the winner here is Dave Surman, Surmann. So Dave Surman, you are the winner, sir, of the float mini of your choice. So I greatly appreciate everybody pushing that out there. Anybody who talked to Dave, please tag him and let him know that he has got some love out there for him. Dave Surman, you are our winner for the float mini. So Chris, we talked to Jeff. He went into all kinds of details about the grip team. But, one thing that he talked about was how he kicked off, some new relationship things with you guys this past, couple weeks ago with the Vibram Open, which was releasing some really unique discs and that sort of thing. So I thought that was really awesome, man. So kind of give everybody the background of who Hawks Nest Disc Golf is, where you're located, and how this whole thing even started with Vibram.
Yeah, sure. So hi, everyone. My name's Chris. So I own Hawks Nest Disc Golf, but I don't own the first iteration of Hawks Nest Disc Golf. So we are located, we are in Ayer, Massachusetts, up in the Northeast. It is a chilly, like 30, 35 degrees right now. Painful. And and this was like the first day that it got down to like 35 degrees. It's been like 70 up until 2 days ago. So many years ago, six, seven years ago or so, a guy named John Borelli started a disc golf store here and helped build a course that's directly behind the store. It's technically in Devens, Massachusetts, because the store is right on the border. So Devens, and they built the hill. And at the time, I was in either middle school or high school at the time, actually right here in Ayer. They built that course. John Borelli ran what was called Killer Bee Disc Golf for a few years. And then his wife actually got a job at the PDGA, and they moved south. And they reopened down there for a while. And then the store reopened a few years ago as after a second course was built. So we actually have two courses back here, the Hill and the General. And the second course was built, and it was reopened as Hawks Nest Disc Golf. So we have a bunch of red-tailed hawks that fly over the courses and live on the courses.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's a really, really cool thing, because almost every round you play, you'll see at least one or two flying around.
No kidding. Summer and fall, all year round?
Yeah. It's pretty. It's
Awesome.
yeah. And there's enough of them too that they're not hard to spot at this point. So then a guy named Mark Ducey opened up Hawk's Nest Disc Golf, sort of rebranded, new name, new business, and stocked the store. And we're in the store now. And you can see the logo and the name. So you'll see the hawk on a lot of things. I tried to get a shirt in here and the sweater that I'm wearing. And you'll see a lot of things like the hoodie that I'm wearing is camo because Hawk's Nest Disc Golf supports Devon's Disc Golf, and Devon's Disc Golf is on Devon's, which used to be Fort Devon. So it used to be an active, very popular, one of the most active military bases, and it closed many years ago, maybe like a decade ago, and went through this process of sort of becoming a town, and it's in the mid process now. So now there's a fire department, and there's residential housing, and they still do a lot of military things, but the property itself has still a lot of that military feel in that it's perfectly well manicured. It's gorgeous. We actually got a chance to build a course this summer. We hosted, I was the TD, and Hawk's Nest Disc Golf hosted the New England Disc Golf Championships.
Okay, awesome. NIFA,
yep.
right?
Yep, through NIFA. So the New England Flying Disc Association is sort of the governing body of disc golf in the Northeast, and has been for almost as long as the PDGA has existed, and has sanctioned a lot of the bigger events. And they're if you want to run an event in New England, you got to really kind of got to go to NIFA, and you got to say, hey, what's the calendar look like? Where can I put my event on a weekend so it doesn't conflict? So it's a fantastic organization, and I recommend everybody become a member. If you're in the Northeast.
Yeah, right. If you're up there.
Yeah, right. So we got a chance to build a course, which we called the Commander, out on that property earlier this year, which was exciting. And then, so over the summer, I was working at the store, and we carry Vibram in the store, and I got reached out to by Jeff. I had worked with Jeff back and forth on just normal order type stuff. Because when I took the store over, I bought the store last summer from Mark. Mark was considering closing the store, and I spoke to him, and Mark and I have known each other for a couple of years, and I said, hey, it's in my hometown. Like, I had moved away, went to college, et cetera, and I said, I'm a disc golfer, and I've shopped at your store, and I heard that you're considering closing or selling, because I think I saw like a closing clearance sale. I said,
okay.
If you're closing, let's talk about staying open, and maybe I'll take over. So, one of the things that I think Mark valued was the community. Mark's a great guy, and he valued the community and the people in it and the activities that we run here. We have one of the, probably, my guess is the most popular league possibly on the East Coast, if not definitely the Northeast. In that last year, we averaged 74 people a week.
That's awesome.
Local league where we use the two courses behind the store. And
wow.
Twice we had 104 people. So we're essentially running what's a tournament or a tournament and a half every single week. And guys like Luke and Bill and Tim, these are the local guys who run that league, are the guys who get it all together, and they make it happen here for one of the most popular courses, I think. So the store is sort of a good fit for this community, I think, and I try to do everything I can for a community I think that deserves it up here.
Yeah, that's awesome. So did it have a following, pretty solid following before you took it over, or was it kind of a rough start for you?
It was a mix. The following was great, but it was still a little bit of a rough start, as it is starting any business. So
yeah,
most of the inventory was gone. We wanted to make sure. The last thing you ever want to do when somebody closes a business is sort of leave them hanging in any way. So I said to Mark, sell what you can.
Yeah, that's. So you started from scratch then, or did you take over his inventory?
I think I took over about 120 discs, which were like 70 gateway discs.
Oh wow!
They were
okay.
70 putters. So then we started with just three brands, three of the plastic brands, and then we went a little bit, built up some cash, and then added Vibram. I think Vibram was the fourth. So we did three all at once, all at the beginning. And then they were the first brand that we added after, because you can't be up in the Northeast and you can't be in Massachusetts without carrying Vibram. And there's such a group of Vibram players up here and fans and self-described rubberheads that it makes sense to carry to Vibram up here. So I reached out to I think it was Tyler right after we opened, and said, hey, let's figure this out, because this was when Tyler was still handling a lot of the accounts at Vibram.
Okay.
And to give you an idea, we carry almost every brand here, but the only person from a company that ever sort of said, hey, you know, it'd be great for you to carry it. Tell you what, I'll come by. You know, he came and he played league. It helps that they're relatively local, but it doesn't mean that they couldn't have, you know, pros from another company or anything like that come by. So Tyler came and he spent time, and he came and he played league, and he talked about the store, and then we got the first order in, and things have gone pretty well from there.
That's awesome. I think that, you know, hearing what you're saying is the same thing that I've heard from other retailers I've talked to, is that, you know, the folks at Vibram are willing to help out and to help you grow your business. And, you know, this vision of the grip team seems to be just more along that, you know, focus, is to say, hey, here's a great way for us to get these retailers more involved. You know, you mentioned that you guys have weekly events, and you do events quite often there, and a big following. So it sounds like this could be right down your alley as far as giving you the flexibility of running an event that fits the crowd that you're used to hosting, but it's a Vibram event, which is still always has that little bit more of a fun focus, right?
Yeah, exactly. The you know, I heard most of well, you know, I was driving to my store to get ready for this. I was listening to the time that you spent with Jeff, and I got a chance to meet Jeff in person, because for the Vibram Open, Jeff flew in and Brian flew in, and they were here, and they spent time at the factory and got some work done. But, you know, for anybody who was here in the Northeast and got a chance to check out the Vibram or just watch the recordings, like, it rained a lot. It was gross. And they were out there standing in the rain. We'd set up a couple of tents, but you know what tents are like.
Oh yeah.
And we had, you know, I worked with them to get boxes ready, to have the inventory. We went and picked up the inventory at the distribution. So they manufacture in one place, and then they distribute from another. So it's easier to handle a lot of like the shipping.
Right.
So I went and picked up all the discs myself, and we brought in we got sort of a bonus inventory. We got a chance to have the largest inventory I think that's ever been in one physical location, like ready to sell right then and there, that wasn't specifically run by Vibram. So we got a chance to do that, and I got a chance to stand in the rain and talk to Jeff and talk to Brian, two guys who are as passionate as it gets. Jeff is, you know, I don't mean to be exaggerating, because I don't think that I am, but Jeff is very sort of visionary, long term, big picture growth, wants the disc golf at Vibram to become the sort of national standard for performance that so much of Vibram has become in so many other areas, right?
Agreed.
There's no soul that's better than a Vibram, right?
No doubt.
It's either Vibram or it's something else.
Yeah,
right?
No doubt.
And he wants disc golf to be like that too. I think he said something like, I think we can be a top 4, right? That's him, like, that's him putting it gently. What he sees is sort of an impact all around the world in a way that says that they're the leaders, right? And
yep,
he's a great person, I think, to have been put in charge of the disc golf side. Frankly, I learned a lot from him while he was here.
Yeah, he's a great dude. And actually, while you were sitting here talking, I know you can't see on your side, I've been holding up the discs of the boxes that I actually bought that day. And there was some awesome stuff, man. I mean, there was some cool stuff in those boxes. And it's funny because I have the green screen going. I held up some discs that had green in them, and it blocked it out. It looked kind of cool. You have to check it out later. But yeah, I that event, at least from what I could see, you know, because I wasn't there locally, got a lot of people excited, man. There was some awesome rubber that came out of that event. Do you feel like overall, as far as a business, that really helped catapult some things as far as your presence with the group?
Yeah, and you know, and we'll talk about the grip retailer stuff too. But that event specifically was huge for us. It allowed us, right? That it was the perfect example of how a corporate partner like a manufacturer or one of the big guys, right, a bigger company, can partner with somebody else, and both sides can get helped. So there was a ton of marketing around it. The reason that it was us in the first place was because Vibram needed a physical, you know, on-site retailer, somebody who could actually like run a tent and run it's little things like you don't think about it, but like we have the ability to process credit cards remotely in the rain in a field, like little things like that. So you need somebody there. You need somebody to receive the discs, since Jeff doesn't exactly live right next to Maple Hill.
Right.
So little things like that. So it was why we sort of first had to be there, but there was a ton of cross promotion. They got a chance to utilize all those vault discs, some of which we still have left over. So I have a couple of promotions that we're going to do with those. Gave them a chance to launch the red, white, and blue twisters, the minis.
Yeah, those were awesome.
To do a lot of like that sort of cross promotion where they need somebody on the ground to do that. And we jumped at the chance to be the on the ground partner. And it got, I think, our name out to a ton of people. And we, you know, for example, we just launched our website a couple of months ago. And I firmly believe that you can't be amazing at everything, that you have to find the areas that you can be good at, the areas that you can succeed, and you can succeed exceptionally well in many of them. And I think it would be stupid of me and of Hawk's Nest and of us in the Northeast to let the energy that came out of that event and Vibram in general, and sort of the partnership with Vibram, to let that go by the wayside and then think of it as just another brand, because it's not the way that we handled it, not the way that I think it went. I think the event went well. There was a lot of us, anybody who's watching this that bought something, you know how the conversation went. You messaged us. We sent you pictures of the discs that were in the boxes right then and there and said, do you want this one? Do you want this one? How about this? And a lot of that is because it wasn't permanent inventory that we always have, but we worked on getting our Vibram inventory up on the website. So hawksnestdiscgolf.com now has Vibram inventory. It was kind of a soft launch. So this is the first time that we're kind of announcing it out loud that most of our Vibram inventory is up, and we're going to keep adding more. We don't take in a ton of inventory through the winter because of the weather, but I fully expect and hope that we can keep doing promotions and things with the Vibram crowd and you know, all the rubberheads, so that we can be ideally the Vibram retailer for most people, at least in the Northeast. I want that. I want to do whatever I can for the Vibram community, for the fans, and you know, the grip team now, to do whatever we can to make sure that you guys get some of the coolest discs, you guys get any limited discs, you guys get discounts on that stuff, whatever I can do to listen to you guys, take the feedback, and then be your retailer that gets Vibram in the hands of as many people as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And I updated my banner here. It's hawksnestdiscgolf.com, right?
Yep. All spelled out.
Awesome.
Hawks, plural.
Yep, got it. So we're out there. I've got it posted out there now. So that way you guys, you know, check out Hawks Nest Disc Golf. So are you taking individual pictures of these discs? So, you know, Jeff talked about kind of bringing back some funky stuff in 2018. Is it something that you're going to be taking individual disc pictures, or are you just going to kind of group them by mold?
The short answer is yes, eventually. So
okay.
I want every picture of every disc in my store, in my inventory. I want a picture of every single disc. That's what I'd like to get to. We are kind of a small store. It's me and a couple of part-timers, so it's hard to take pictures of literally every single disc. But we try to put in description, so it doesn't just say blue. It'll say swirly blue with red stamp. Like we try to say little things like that. So you'll see on a lot of that stuff. We try to be as descriptive as possible with words like swirly and light gray. And let's face it, there's a difference between purple and lavender. So we call it lavender. It's lavender.
That's fair, man. That's fair. Hey, and the thing is, I mean, with it makes it difficult too with the multicolors. Is like sometimes just easier to just say multicolor. You know, it's more than one color. Just group them together, right?
We have some discs that are multicolor, and we'll say all the colors. So we'll say it's a red, blue, green, orange, like the all of the granites.
Yeah.
Most of the granites, they'll say it's the blue. We'll say it's the orange, white, light blue, purple granite, or it's the one that's peach, red, white, and that orange granite. So we'll try to say stuff like that. That way, folks know they can at least visualize what they're going to get, and it's not far off from what they get in the mail.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then, so since we still have, we sold we slowly trickled and it started to tail off. I still have, so we started with a lot, maybe 50, 60, 70 of those vault discs.
Yeah.
So
that's not a bad problem to have.
That's what we started with. I still have 15 of them left.
Okay.
And I still have about 20 of the Twister minis left. And I know at one point somebody sneaky took a picture of them in my store and accidentally posted them. So I wanted to keep them a little bit of a secret. And I thought tonight would be a good night to get rid of some more of these.
Yeah, man.
So I figure at least as a giveaway, I'll let you figure out how to do it because you're the giveaway master who knows how to give things away.
Okay.
I want to give away one of the full sets. So So we did a couple of things. We did.
This is nuts, y'all. Pay attention.
we did 2 discs for $30, and you got one of these, the Twisters.
Yeah.
Red, white, and blues, which I believe at the time were only available through us. We were the first ones to ever get these. And now I think a few more retailers have gotten these, but we were the only ones to have them at first. We were also, and Jeff told me this when I had them in my hand, we were the first retailer to have crags because there were some that were shipped out to a few places, but they were shipped from the place that I picked them up. So the retailers didn't even have them yet. They were like in the mail, literally. So we were literally the first retailer to have crags in our hands ready to ship.
That's awesome.
For $30, you got 2 discs plus a twister. For $40, you got 2 discs plus a vault disc. For $65, you got 4 discs, a vault disc, and a twister. So I want to do one of the $65 packages. You can give it out however you want to do it. So somebody will get 4 stock discs plus one of the vault discs plus one of these twister minis.
I love that, man. All right, so I just wrote down what we've got. Okay. So I just posted in the Vibram Disc Golf Collectors group a reminder to these goofballs that may have dropped off that they better join right now. So I'm going to give them a moment or two. So here's the deal, guys, for those of you that are just catching back on because you saw that I posted that a giveaway is coming right now. Brian actually just clarified some things for us too. Brian said 250 red, white, and blue twisters made is all we had.
There you go.
So that's.
I have something like 10% of them left.
Okay. Okay. Awesome.
So we'll do that, and then I'll tell you something else in a sec. Do you want? I don't know how this works. Do you do this now, or do you?
Yeah. No, I'll do it now. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do another number, but what I'm gonna do this time is I'm gonna wait for the first number posted between 1 and 174. Okay, so between 1 and 172, but it can't be number 13. We already did number 13. So any number between 1 and 172 is going to be our next winner, and that winner will win 4 stock discs, 1 vault disc, and then a twister mini. So whoever gives me a number, I am watching on my other phone or on my phone here. So the first number that I see from somebody in the crowd will be the winning number. So you can yell at whoever posts a number here. And so we'll do that. I'll keep my eyes on it, Chris, and I will announce that number here in just a moment once I see somebody post that, because we're probably about 30 seconds delayed. But that's awesome, dude. Holy crap. So you still got a bunch of vault discs. You still got the twisters. So is that something that you're holding on to for just special occasions, or are these open for folks to message you and to purchase on their own tonight or tomorrow, something like that?
So in the same spirit that Jeff had. So when we first, when Jeff said, "Hey, we need somebody. Do you want to work with us for the Vibram Open?" I said, "Yeah, I would love to." And he said, "Great. We have all these vault discs." Basically, they found, like he said earlier, it's a big warehouse, and they were just like boxes. We all know this, right? Pick any room in your house that's full of stuff. It's probably a box somewhere, and you forget what's in it. With them, it was awesome discs from years ago. And he didn't want to sort of just make these stock discs that people could just buy and it just be worth a little bit more than or cost a little bit more than a normal disc. And I want to keep that going. So we've not sold a single vault disc. We've given them all away, either through promotions or through whatever. And so I have actually the full box. To give you an idea, these were the mystery mystery discs. They all came in their own individual bags, so that even when people that were at the Vibram Open picked them, they couldn't see what they were picking. And the same thing with the Twister Minis. We've not sold. I've had 1 million people ask, and we think it's much better to sort of promote the retail.
Hell yeah, man.
The buying of Vibram discs in general, and have these be a giveaway. So we've not sold a single Twister Mini, and we've not sold a single Vault disc, and I want to keep that going. So what I'm going to do is for the next, at least for the rest of tonight, what's today, Wednesday? So
Today's
tonight,
Wednesday.
and we figure a lot of people will watch this over the next few days, right? People who are working or time zone. So through the end of the weekend, we'll keep this going. Through the end of this weekend, so Sunday night, see the end of Sunday night, anybody who buys on the website 2 discs, 2 of the Vibram discs, will get one of the minis, and anybody who buys 3 Vibram discs will get one of the Vault discs and one of the minis.
Nice, dude.
So we'll do that.
Solid.
We'll just throw them in for free. I want to give these away. I want to see if we can pick up a little bit of traffic on the website as well. And you'll actually see, if you look on it, there's a code for everybody to get 10% off, the online store code. And our goal is just here to have people see that we have our shiny new website that we launched just a couple months ago.
So the code, the 10% off code, that's on your main page?
Yep.
Okay.
It's the banner right now. It's a code just because we launched a new store.
Awesome. So let me recap this, Chris. So here's the deal, everybody. Chris is doing, this is ridiculous, okay? So Chris is doing a giveaway, which I'm going to announce here in just a moment, the winner. 4 discs plus a Vault disc plus a Twister, which is the red, white, and blue mini, which I don't have one on my desk right now because I've got it in my vault with all my stuff. So that's going to be our giveaway. The first number that I saw came from Zach Bouchard. I'm assuming is how you pronounce that properly. And his number was 156. The winner for number 156 is Kevin Lawless. So Kevin Lawless, sir, I have messaged with you on occasion. If I remember correctly, you are a busy guy and work some crazy hours, so I wasn't able to catch up with you on the podcast the other night. But Kevin Lawless, you are the proud owner of 4 new baby discs and a Vault disc and a Twister, brother. That is awesome. Compliments of Hawk Nest Disc Golf. Now here's the deal, guys. You can see, well, my green screen's cutting off my hand, but you'll see right here we have a hyperlink. http://www.hawksnestdiscgolf.com. Here's what Chris just announced. All right. Hopefully you guys are catching on to this. 2 discs. If you purchase 2 discs on his site, and we're saying what, till Sunday, let's say?
Yeah, we'll say. Well, so here's the thing. We'll say till the end of the weekend, till
Okay.
Sunday night.
Okay.
But keep in mind, I only have 1, 2, 3. I think I have 15 Vault discs. So it's either going to be till Sunday night or the first 15 people who buy 3 discs. So
Okay.
the 3 disc one is the one that comes with the Vault disc, and I have more minis than more of the Twisters than I do Vault discs. So it would essentially be I want to say 20 or 25 minis is what I have.
Okay. Okay. All right. So 20 to 25 minis, 15 Vault discs. Go ahead and smash that like button. Give it a love. Give it a smile. Give it a laugh. Whatever it is, because this is ridiculous right here. You purchase 2 discs, you get a Twister Mini for free. You purchase 3 discs, which the old deal was you had to purchase 4 discs for this, so it's even sweeter than it was before. You purchase 3 discs, regular stock discs, you will get a Vault disc plus a mini for free. Here's the deal. First 15 people. So if 15 people take that package, that means there's only 10 left for the mini package. So get on it. I mean, I want you to stay tuned, obviously. Don't drop off right now, but you want to take advantage of this very, very soon. I would say that I will likely be on the list to purchase 3 discs tonight, and my wife is probably watching and will probably give me a dirty look later. But hey, it is what it is. This is awesome, dude. This is awesome.
Yeah,
this is a hell of a way to kick this off.
I was looking for reasons, ways, promotions to move these and to give them away and to give them, we've done a couple of little things, like we've run events up here and I've probably run 2 or 3 events since the Vibram. And in those 2 or 3 events, I've given one of these packages away. But I wanted to really find a good way to especially get them into this crowd this specific community. And I think if I can give all 15 of these away and all Twister Minis to the guys, let's face it, if you're watching the Vibram Collector podcast, you deserve something like this.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. That's awesome.
This is a good way. Plus, if it gets more people to subscribe to your podcast, which I think is, I've watched a bunch of these episodes, knowing that they can get some cool stuff.
Yeah, that's the thing. You know, I try to set up some vendor partnerships with folks like you to where, you know, if once a month we can just get together, have a quick conversation and put something out there. You know, I hashtag it all the time. Vibram family loves that stuff. I mean, there's not a ton of us out there. You're not going to see, you know, 75% of the folks right now. Now, obviously, that's Jeff's long-term goal, and that's what we're going to push towards. And vendors like yourself, you know, that will allow Vibram to be better positioned for that. So, taking us back, I mean, this giveaway is awesome. I don't want to take anything away from that, but let's roll back to what Jeff was talking about with the vendors being able to sponsor events. You know, the Birdie Bash was awesome, but it didn't help any vendors, right? There was really only one distributor that did all that stuff. So in hearing what Jeff says to where a vendor can kind of kick things off with a inaugural event almost, that's like, you know, the Rubberhead Madness Tour, whatever the hell it is you want to do. You can make it a 2-disc event, a 1-disc event, a putter event. Any ideas off your hip of what you would probably want to drive towards for yourself?
Yeah, you know, I think a lot of it. So the types of events that I like to run for stuff like this, you know, lots of manufacturers have their version of an event that's just designed to get people to the course, to get people throwing around, right? It's not a PDGA sanctioned event with a really high entry fee. It's the polar opposite. The goal is accessibility. The goal is size, as many people as possible, as many throws as possible, as much fun. So it's the sort of thing where I lean towards fewer discs, or I lean towards the lowest entry fees that I can get and a bunch of free entry fees, however I can somehow sponsor that. We have 2 courses behind our store, and one of them is much shorter, technical, wooded. They're both wooded, but one of them is much longer, tougher fair. It's a 985 is par rated. So, you know, that's the kind of course where we wouldn't necessarily probably run an event like this, because our goal is to get as many people out on the course and as many people playing and as many discs and as many hands as possible. It's one of those, you know, the Hawk's Nest has a mission, and it's 3 parts. And the first part of our mission is to grow the sport. So whatever that means, if we aren't trying to grow the sport through that process, then we're not following our mission. And these events are exactly what does that, because it's not just great for Vibram and it's not just great for Hawk's Nest. It's great for the sport in general, because it gets more people playing, right? Somebody mentioned earlier running the events where they listed a bunch of the understable, easier to throw discs, ones that a lot of times are easier for beginning players. Events like that are great, because if you're putting those discs in people's hands, they're much more likely to come back, because the disc is going to fly a little bit closer to what they thought it was going to fly when they threw it. So events that use beginner discs and get as many people playing as possible, and on slightly easier courses, a lot of times preferred more open courses. That way they can see the disc, because I think for all of us, the best part of disc, at least for me, the best part of disc golf is that time when the disc is in the air.
Oh yeah.
So anything that you can use slightly more open spaces, fields, a lot of times stuff like that is better. Pairing it with like a short clinic, plus it gets people in the store and it gets people in general into the act. It's one of those things, once you're in the group, you're with a group of friends who always like to play, or you determine what your local course is or your local store is or whatever. That means that you're going to, odds are, play more often, because when you have a free Saturday, you're looking to hang out with friends, you're more likely to call your disc golf friends than your sit on the couch friends.
Yeah.
So anything that gets them to the course even once is going to make them probably play for a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's where the Birdie Bash was so successful, and why a lot of the guys in the Vibram Disc Golf Collectors group are the way that we are. Because we had an event that was no pressure, right? We were able to go and play disc golf, do what we love, but it didn't matter if we were great or good, or if we were absolutely terrible. Everybody still had a great time. So, hey, one of the guys out there asked, guys, just to kind of give you an update here, we're with Chris Collette with Hawks Nest Disc Golf up in Air, Massachusetts. And he is talking with us. He did an awesome event at the Vibram Open this year. And Brandon Peterson, you're asking what the numbers were for. Numbers were for a giveaway winner. So tonight we have Chris Lewandowski won the scorecard and playing cards. Dave Sermon won his choice of float mini. And the other one was Kevin Lawless winning the big package from Hawks Nest Disc Golf. And what we will do is for anybody that wants to participate in the round table later, so the way that the round table is going to work, much like Chris is on the screen right now, it'll be a Zoom meeting, a video conference type meeting. I'll post it out. Anybody that wants to join can join, and we'll talk about it as an open forum, just wide open. We'll just talk back and forth and see what everybody's thoughts are, positive, negative. I don't see why they would be negative. I think tonight's been an awesome night. But if you're interested in the roundtable, definitely stay tuned, and I will post that link. The link is actually for the roundtable in the events within the Vibram Collector page, but I'll also post that link out here shortly. So, Chris, one of the things that you mentioned earlier is you have a 3-step mission. You told us the first step, which was grow the sport. And first of all, let me, before I ask my question what the next two are, I think it's awesome the fact that you even have something that driven, man. There's a true mission statement is super awesome in the disc golf world. So grow the sport, step 1. What's step 2 and step 3, brother?
Step 2 is to support the community. So step 1, growing the sport. We think of this as a, and you'll see on our website, I wrote about a page of sort of my own feelings and thoughts behind why I think each of these is really important. Step 1 is big picture, right? A rising tide raises all ships. If I can only sell to 1% of disc golfers in the world, but the number of disc golfers goes up exponentially over the next 20 years, then my 1% is going to represent more and more business for us.
Yeah.
So as long as I'm supporting the sport and having more people play disc golf in general, it's going to be better for all of us. So step 2 is and you'll see me eyeballing, as we have it written on the wall of the store over there. In big bold letters. Step 2 is to support the community. So when we get a little bit smaller picture, our store and our business and disc golf clubs and communities and retailers can't exist without the community itself, the close community. And community can mean a lot of things. It could be just the people who walk in the store every day, or it could be the people who travel from really far away because they heard that our tournaments are really great, or that we give a lot of stuff away, or whatever. So whoever it is that comes and helps you, that tends to be your community. So if you're not supporting them in return with, it could be giveaways, right? I want to support the Vibram community by giving you stuff that's hard to get elsewhere that I was privileged to receive on my end. And I want to be a guest on a podcast because I want to try to say interesting things for you guys. And so it's whatever the community happens to be, if we can give back to it, they're more likely to help us down the road, because as a group, we can all, I think, grow together.
Yeah, agreed. I think that, one of the things that is key about support the community too, and what's really great about this grip is that it gives you flexibility to support it in the way that best fits your community, which is awesome.
Exactly. And, the Jeff talked about the grip team sort of getting back to for every one pro or every one really popular influencer, there's 10, 15, 20, 50, 100 casual disc golfers, right? People who maybe will never play a tournament in their whole lives, but might play more disc golf than we do. These are the guys who walk in stores every day. Anecdotally, I'll tell you, I got it wrong when I opened Hawks Nest Disc Golf. I was talking to the former owner. I was talking to Mark.
Mm-hmm.
And Mark told me this, and like an idiot, I listened to him and went, I don't know. I have no experience, but I disagree.
Yeah. That's how it works, right?
He was like, look, all the tournament players, you're going to know them all. There's going to be for every one of them that walks in, you're going to get 15 people you've never met before who will buy whatever kind of understable mid-range you have as their first disc. And it's true. For every one, right, pick your favorite pro, think of what he throws. For every one of those discs, the overstable high-speed drivers, the stable fairway drivers, for every one of those I sell, I sell 5 understable mid ranges. I sell 6 putters to somebody who's never played before, to 6 different people who've never played before.
Right.
For every 10 discs I sell one by one, I sell 1 starter set to somebody. So those are the disc golfers, and it's a good problem, because it means that I'm not talking about this fancy new disc technology that somebody came out with, but instead I'm having conversations with first timers over and over and over again. I had 2 girls come in on Sunday, and they said, "Hey, what's the deal with disc golf? We hang out," and I found out they hang out every Sunday. These are like 2 girls in their 20s. They hang out every Sunday, and they pick a new activity every Sunday. And this Sunday was disc golf day.
That's awesome.
So, right? That's the sort of thing. So I gave them a little mini lesson, gave them discs, and they went out and they played the course behind the store, and it's cheap, right? For $10 each, they can get in. At, we sell used discs, so for $5 they can buy a couple of used discs, and they can go play every Sunday until the discs break in the cold, like whatever they want. And those are the sort of people that the grip team will have more of an impact on, because if it's the players that aren't necessarily the touring pros, it's going to be the players that are the other 100, and they're the ones that will help. Frankly, will also help retailers a lot, because we know that there's so many more of those customers. Think of the discs that are in your own bag. I know that Vibram collectors oftentimes will buy discs and you and collect them at a much higher rate than almost any other manufacturer. But imagine the bag that you actually throw. How often do you cycle through those discs? It's probably not all that often. You usually don't replace it until you lose it, or something really brand new comes out.
Right.
So that means that most of the disc sales are going to people who are new to the game, or they're learning, or they have 3 or 4 discs in their bag and they're ready to buy a backpack and put 10 more in. So many of the sales go to those people. It's almost a shame that we so often forget that the non-tournament, non-PDGA, non-news players are the ones who drive so much of this business. And it makes me optimistic too, because I see the PDGA growth charts, and I see the demographic growth charts, right, that PDGA publishes every year.
Right.
And I know that doesn't even represent most of the customers who shop in my store.
Yeah, not even close.
It can only be better than that, right?
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. And that's the upswing of the market is definitely key. I'll be honest with you though, the thing that I see from the outside is that we still have some things in the disc golf world that we need to break us out of, the guys working in disc golf and having a full-time job. That sort of thing is kind of difficult. But, the motion of this grip team of getting that 99% more involved means more revenue out there for companies to do more things. I mean, if you're hosting a Vibram event, it brings recognition out to disc golf, whether it's Vibram, whatever. So the more that we can do to cater to the newbies, it should, in theory, snowball for everybody, right? I mean, don't you see that too? I mean, I kind of look at this grip event or grip, just the whole grip team platform. And granted, it's, perfect scenario or good scenario, but if this thing works the way that Jeff is laying it out and the way that I can see it potentially working, I mean, this could be great for everybody. I see other companies emulating this platform pretty quickly if 2018 goes the way I think it will.
I think a lot of teams, I mentioned this earlier. Jeff is a mover and a shaker. A visionary kind of guy. I think a lot of teams, they want to do that. I know of a lot of teams that, right, you think of any team that has ever had multiple tiers of people on their team, and they often want the lowest rung of that team to do what Jeff wants the whole team to do. And it's that lowest rung that's getting out there. Some of the best things that a person can do is to talk about the discs they're throwing, talk about why they work, talk about how great they are, talk to retailers, and have those sorts of conversations. And and to go out and try to get new courses built and to be the movers and shakers of the team. And they're the ones, you know, you look at it, you have to be either really, really amazing at something or really, really well-rounded to get on a team. You can't be kind of okay at some things.
Right.
And the guys who are really, really good at disc golf, they end up on teams. But like Jeff said, so many of them have full-time jobs, and then they play on weekends, and also they have to practice. When do they have time to also run an event on the side for brand new players that takes a month and a half to plan and prep and get ready for?
Right.
So it's often this, you know, each team has their version of a lowest level, like a street team or an ambassador team or a protege team. And oftentimes those are the guys, it's right in the name. They're the ones who odds are going out there and doing the legwork and posting on social and running events and running those beginner style events, which now Vibram has said that's going to be all of our events. That's our goal, right? Isn't that what we all want? And then the pros will come. You know, Jeff did mention this, but if this works the way that it seems like it's going to, the pros will come. Like you can't be that successful and not want to join the team.
Yeah,
they're going to they'll start knocking on the door the other way around. The really good players will throw the rubber, and then they'll be like, hey, I'm really good at it. Please let me on the team.
Yeah.
Please do this for me. And all of a sudden they'll be knocking on the doors, trying to become a pro level member. And Jeff will be able to turn around and say, we'd love to have you, but you got to do you got to pull your weight the same way everybody else on the team is.
Yeah.
And then you'll end up with a real true culture and community that represents every skill level, but everybody's sort of pulling their weight.
Yeah, I think, man, I couldn't have said it any better. I think it's right, and I think the way that you envision it and the way that you just explained it is right on point with where my thoughts are with it as well. I did get a question actually from Jeff. Jeff is sitting at home, laying in bed, probably souped up on NyQuil now, but he is asking. He said, "Hey Chris, we met a lot of new people to rubber during Vibram Open, purchasing the 2-disc promo. Have any people come back to visit your shop since then? What are their impressions, good, bad, or ugly?"
It's a good question. So the Vibram was a couple months ago. So you'll have to at least forgive the fact that there's a bunch of people.
Yeah, I hear that, man.
I'm literally trying, but I know that there was a lot of players who already knew us and sort of they supported. You know, they're Massachusetts disc golfers, so they came and they checked it out. I know that some of the people who bought the packages online, a lot of the Vibram disc golfers, have now followed up later and wanted more information about other discs that we carry. Right? They sort of liked the promo so much that they've reached out to us more often. They've become sort of, I don't know if I want to call them repeat customers, but the conversation, the dialogue has been open between us much more often. I know that a lot of the disc golfers, and this happens a lot at tournaments like the Vibram, they're relatively new disc golfers. They heard that there's a giant tournament going on. They don't quite realize the scale of the Vibram Open or the Disc Golf Pro Tour events in general.
Right.
They come, they're blown away.
Yeah, I'm sure.
They say things like, man, I've never seen so many discs in one place at one time, or they could be so new that they're like, are these discs made out of rubber? Like new players.
Yeah.
And then they want to know more. So then we say, yeah, we're Hawks Nest and we're right next to 2 courses. And then they come, and it's not necessarily that they say, I bought the 2 discs and I love it, so I'm going to come to your store. It's that they go, I love that there's a store. I love that I could look at all of the discs that you have. I love that you have 2 courses in one place. So then they want to come up. So then those are the people, yeah, we do see some of those, the ones who say, we saw you somewhere else, whether or not they bought. So then they want to come up to Devon's and they want to check out the 2 courses that we have and they want to pick through a store. There's only 3 physical stores in Massachusetts, and most of you guys know the other 2, right? Maple Hill has their own pro shop, and then Marshall Street.
Right.
So it's those 2 big guys, and then there's a couple of mobile stores and one smaller store that just opened up. Shout out to some of our friends, like Greenlight Disc Golf has a store.
Yeah.
Pure Flight has a store. So we're friends with those guys, and we wish them the best for all the same reasons that I think they wish us the best.
Yep.
But there's only so many places where you can pick through discs, and that'll get people to come to your store or come to your course. At least the fact that they can just be surrounded by discs in a way that they wish that they could when they're at home.
Yeah, isn't it weird that we're like that? Disc golfers in general. We just like, I mean, I know for me, I go into a nice disc golf store and I just sit there and I'm like, even though I know full and damn well I'm not going to buy any plastic, I still pick it up. I still fondle it. I still look at it. And, then I'll go grab a Vibram, and I'll almost always, the Play It Again Sports near me, it's not even really near me, but it's like 40 minutes away. It's the closest store that sells Vibram near me. And very rarely do they have Vibram in the used bin. But if there's Vibram in the used bin, I always rescue it. Even if it's a disc that I would never touch, never whatever. But I just like going in there, man, and just seeing what's out there. Disc golf is growing so fast in a lot of ways, but we're still so slow in a lot of ways too. And that's the thing that a lot of people don't understand is that, they look at it and they go, oh, well, there's all these tournaments now. We have this big disc golf pro tour and world tour. We should be everywhere and on TV. It's like, guys, just because you have a big name label doesn't mean we're to that point yet. Yeah. But I think that, using this grassroots approach, partnering with retailers like yourself that are truly focused on, hey, I don't necessarily have to run the A tier in the Disc Golf Pro Tour tournament. I can run the C tier and the X tier and some funky little stuff to still build my brand, Hawks Nest Disc Golf, but also grow the sport. And I think that's awesome, man. This grip thing is really kind of exciting, just to bring it all back around and think about from a retailer standpoint. I think there was some retailers out there I've talked to that were nervous about it, but folks like yourself seem to be really excited about it. And it seems like it'll position you to grow your business.
Yeah, I think it's you just got to remember that I think most people, we all know like the usuals, the majority of disc golfers that we interact with, I think are the same ones that we see a lot, and we see them at the same tournaments, and we play with them, and maybe they're about our skill level, so we're in the same divisions and stuff like that, right? Because I compete, I play as a pro, and I see the same people over and over and over again.
Yeah.
But then you spend a day and if you live near a disc golf store, just go hang out for like an hour. You won't recognize anybody that comes in. You won't know any of them because they're all going to be mom and pop down the street, right? What I want to do right now, I'm working on trying to put a sign out by the street that just says disc golf free. Like, that's it. Come play disc golf for free. Because most people who come in the store and I say, yeah, we have 2 courses back here. They go, you have 2 courses? I go, yeah, and they're both free. And they go, free?
Right.
What kind of activity in the world nowadays is free? And I go, yeah, like 95% of the courses are free.
Yeah.
They're in the parks, recreation land, state parks, whatever. You can play whenever you want. And I'll give you a disc out of my trunk, or, the lost and found bin that's been here for 6 months. You can have one of those, just go play, have fun. Because I know that they'll turn into customers one day, but you just got to get them on the course. As long as you can get them on the course and they realize how fun it is to throw a Frisbee through the woods or fields, they're hooked.
Yep.
The conversations around discs and events and a lot of times that stuff it's not needed. Just put a disc in their hand, get them on the course.
Yeah.
They're gonna love the game, and they're gonna realize that there's incredibly low barriers to entry. You don't have to buy a membership anywhere. You don't have to buy a ton of equipment. There's nothing special you have to wear. So it becomes an incredibly easy game to get anybody to play. All you got to do is let them try it once. So we really push free borrowing. We have loaners. We don't charge like people to rent discs. If they just come in and they go, do you have any that I can rent? Oh yeah, here, just take these and go play. And
very cool.
They get a chance to play without having to spend $1, because I know that they will down the road when they realize how awesome this is.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So we've got a couple of people out here. We've got Guy Boyan asking, he's coming in late, Mr. Mint himself. He's coming in late and he's wondering, there's 3 hours of video. Yeah, man, there's 3 hours of video. Where the hell have you been, dude? We talked to Jeff, got all the details about grip. I mean, I know you got some Mint things running on, but come on, buddy. And he's asking, can anybody answer me what is being done by grip that hasn't been done before? Come on, man. If you had listened to the past 2 hours, you wouldn't have to ask that question, right?
Listen to minutes 17 through 23 and 94 through 106.
Yeah, exactly. No, in all seriousness, all of you guys that are out there listening, thank you for listening. If you missed something in the first 2 hours, I can't promise you it's the most exciting thing you'll ever listen to, but what I can promise you is that it's worth listening to. Jeff went over some awesome stuff. Chris and I have just been expanding on it even more and just kind of talking about how it's going to affect him as a retailer and getting excited about that stuff. I think what's really cool, Jeff posted that question, which we know that Jeff's out there watching. And so that's awesome. The fact that he is this engaged in everything that's going on. But I think what's even more cool, more cooler, I guess that's not technically correct. Here's the deal, man. I'm seeing like 4 or 5 posts of people that have already gone out and bought discs from the site. So I noticed our number dropped down and then it jumped back up. So we've got a couple people that are already ordering. So if you missed it and you're just joining, because I see the numbers are a little higher now than they were when we initially announced it, we've had 3 winners tonight. Chris Lewandowski won playing cards and scorecards. David Sermon, your choice of float mini. And then Chris gave away the bomb package of 4 discs, a vault disc, and a twister. He gave those out to Kevin Lawless. And, so just some awesome stuff going. We've got the round table coming up. I posted a link in comments. You're not going to be able to join it until I join it. But that's just going to be an open forum. I'm going to leave it open and we'll chat for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever it is, and see what people's thoughts are. I've got Benjamin Overbeek out there messaging me. I know he's our Secret Santa guy. I'd hope to chat with him at some point to kind of talk about Secret Santa a little bit. But I know that he's a teacher, so he's got to get going. But those of you that don't know, go join the Vibram Disc Golf Collectors Group. Do the Secret Santa. You run it through Elfster. It's super easy. And Ben will catch up with you on the next time for that. So, guys, again, if you want the special tonight through the end of the weekend, okay, 2 discs.
3 people. And 3, by the way, 3 people have already done the I popped up I took a look at my phone. So I got 3 people already that have done the vault disc and mini package. So I only have 12 vault discs left.
12.
And enough minis, another probably 20 minis.
Okay, so 2 discs, you get a red, white, and blue twister mini with a 2 disc order. A 3 disc order, you get a vault disc and the disc and the mini, the twister mini. That was a 4 disc package at the Vibram Open, so we dropped that down to a 3 disc package. You're not gonna beat that. You buy 3 stock discs and you get a vault disc and a mini. And these vault discs are sick, y'all. I'm talking like, I know you can't see it because of the green screen, but I've got my Proto Notch that I got from him last time. I got the first run Vamp. I've got a couple other things under here. I've got the Proto Arch. All right, so we've got some awesome rubber that's going to come out of these vaults, and oh snap, oh dang, that's a black and white unstamped, or black and red, pardon me, black and red unstamped Vibram Open Discs. So there's some awesome stuff out there. So get your orders in. 3 discs, you'll get that and a mini, a vault disc and a mini. So Chris, what I'm going to do real quick, because I just realized I have it here. Any women out there, I've got a VibramStrong shirt. It's a medium shirt. And this can't be husbands commenting for the wives. The first woman that wears a medium that wants a VibramStrong shirt, Vibram Disc Golf Collectors Group on the back, and is a medium, message me, comment, whatever. I've got a shirt for you. So there we go. We're doing a giveaway specifically for the medium shirt wearing women out there. I know it's very niche, but it is what it is. So medium women, hop on here. Husbands, tag your wives. Have them come on here and say me, me, me. Whoever's first on that is good. So Chris, I'm not going to keep you too much longer. It's been an amazing hour with you, man. It's been a pleasure meeting you virtually here, and hopefully I can get my bucket list tour of coming up to, the Massachusetts area and maybe even twist Brian and Jeff's arms into getting a tour of the factory, right? Would be amazing. But some final thoughts, brother. I mean, I want to recap your mission statement. So you had grow the sport, step 1, support the community. What was step 3 again? Give it one more time so I write it down this time.
So step 3 is to help every disc golfer become a better player. We think that as retailers, it's our job to be content specialists and to be advocates for growth of the sport, growth of players. We can't just process transactions. We process transactions, we're not doing anybody a favor, and you won't survive as a business. So we give out a million mini lessons for free. We I won't. You don't want to see the face that I get when somebody walks in, brand new player, and asks for the really overstable driver because they saw somebody who's a top pro throw it, or the guys who specialize in the right bad form anti-flex forehand lines. There's a disc in my store that I'm considering not carrying at all because I think it's a disc that has caused a lot of bad habits in disc golf. I won't mention it, but it's a disc that I'm considering not carrying at all because when you combine the name with the type of the disc, the type of disc it is, I don't think it does anybody favors, and I think it builds a lot of bad habits in brand new players.
Interesting.
So
we'll talk about that one offline because I'd love to hear what disc that is.
And when I explain it, most people.
But I love the philosophy, man. The fact that you're not willing to you're willing to say no, you can't have this disc because it's not going to help you. I think that's amazing.
We sell it. Some people buy it, and I think that people will be better in the long run than making a quick sale. So it's a lot of stuff like that, trying to carry as many of the right discs as possible for people. Because when people become better players, they trust us more. And when they trust us more, they're more likely to come back. So as long as you're a good advocate for growth of a player and growth of the sport, then they're going to come naturally. The sport's going to get bigger. People are going to enjoy it. And they're going to come of their own volition versus because we had a sale or whatever. Right.
Yeah, no, I hear you, man. I think that's awesome. So if we can focus on this, I mean, I think this is what I love is the fact that your mission statement, it's like I'd met with Vinny this summer, a couple different podcasts, and he had, hug harder, love louder. And that was something that he worked on. And it was just something that he always drove to. And the fact that you as a disc golf store have a mission statement of grow the sport, support the community, and make every disc golfer become better, it just, to me, it's awesome, man. The fact that you're keeping that at the forefront of your business, because I guarantee you most of the people are not focused on others. They're focused on themselves behind their business first, and that's why they have to grind tooth and nail. I can guarantee you this, bro. I'm going to push you to the Vibram family. I know that the Vibram family out there listening tonight appreciates everything that you've done, and that I can obviously see that you're going to continue to do. So, thank you for that, man. And I know that Jeff obviously appreciates it, and I'm sure that those types of things will be rewarded long term. So, before I let you go, man, look at the camera, tell the folks out there what you want them to know, where you want them to go to follow you, to stay in touch with you, to see what the Chris story is all about, or the Hawks Nest story. So they go to the Facebook page, can do all that. What other social media you got out there?
Yep. So our Facebook page is the sort of the best social for us. We do the same thing everybody else does on Instagram. We create an account, we post a picture every once in a while, and we hope people follow us.
Yeah.
Right. That's how Instagram works. You post when you remember you have one.
Yeah.
So our Instagram is Hawks Nest DG. Okay. Our Facebook is facebook.com/Hawks Nest DG. If you just search Hawks Nest Disc Golf in Facebook, you'll find it. I would recommend obviously liking it and keeping an eye on that, because we'll do giveaways, we'll do announcements when stuff pops up. Whenever we get good amounts of new inventory, we'll post it there. And then our website, hawksnestdiscgolf.com. And I recommend, even if you go to the website and just add your email, we try not to try not to get too spammy. It tries to be more newsletters and thank yous, and when we get new products in and things like that.
Sure.
So even if you don't see anything on the website that you're interested in, as soon as we get more Vibram in, that stuff will get pushed out in an email that says, "Hey, new products," and it'll show a bunch of the Vibram.
Right.
So sort of keep an eye on that stuff, and then anything, if you ever have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. It's a small team. It's the Devon's community. It's a couple of people who help out in the store, Austin and Ben and Kelly and Kat and Lee and other people who have been here, helped out in the store in the past. So I want to thank all of them personally. But reach out to us, man. If you shoot a message to Hawks Nest Disc Golf, like, I'm the one who's going to reply. Like, it'll be me. It's not going to be anybody else. It might be one of the guys who works here, but I'll see it too. But that's about it. So check out the Facebook page. It's probably the best place to get information other than our actual website.
Okay, excellent. Easy enough. So there you go, guys. Chris with Hawks Nest Disc Golf has been gracious enough to spend an hour with us. He's running some awesome specials. Go check out his site. 2 discs and you get a mini. 3 discs, you get a vault disc and a mini. As of about 10-15 minutes ago, there were only 12 of those vault disc packages left, and he's holding up the mini now, which is awesome. So you guys go out there, support Chris. He's going to do some awesome things for Vibram, and I will continue to pester you, Chris, and we'll do another giveaway maybe coming up in December sometime, and we'll get you back on and see how things are going. Is that cool?
Yeah, that sounds great. And I got to get into the Secret Santa too.
Yeah, man. Get in there, the Disc Golf Collectors Group, and join that thing. I know that if Ben is still watching, Ben's going to go in there and bump the post right now. So, all right, brother. I appreciate it, man. I hope you have a good one. We'll talk to you on the flip side.
You too. Thanks,
brother.
thank everybody for watching.
Thanks, guys. All right, so everybody out there, it is just me now for just a couple of minutes, and what we are going to do is I'm going to do the round table. So the way the round table will work, I'm going to go ahead and join the meeting now for the round table. And if anybody wants to join and just wants to give their thoughts, feel free to hop on to the round table meeting link. I went ahead and joined it now, so I am in there. So you will hear me talking if you join the meeting link as well. You will hear me talking. It's just a couple of minutes just to talk through, some of the things that are new out there, some of the things that, were announced tonight. And, I just kind of want to get some folks' thoughts. So I see that we've got one person that joined in, so we'll get Kevin's thoughts. So let me go ahead and patch you in here, Kevin. So, Kevin, you're joining us. Give me 1 second, Kevin. Let me get some audio here for you. Can you hear me on your side, Kevin? All right, I can't hear you on my side, Kevin. Let me unmute you. There we go. Now I got you. I got you on that side, Kevin. So we're good there. And let me get your audio set up on the live side, and we'll transition you in. All right, so we've got Kevin on here. Kevin, why don't you give everybody your name? Is this Kevin Lawless by chance?
No.
Okay.
Texas Rubberheads. I'm Kevin Van Cleve. I am co-owner of Money Shot Disc along with Mark Cantrell.
Oh, awesome, man. Well, great guest to have on. So, tell us, man, what's your thoughts on what's coming up? I mean, as a retailer, there was some pretty exciting news tonight. So why don't you tell us your thoughts from your point of view and what you heard tonight?
Well, I remember, last week you had a meeting with Brad, and I was sitting there right beside Brad as he went through the meeting. And me and him were talking before the meeting, and I told him, I was like, it'd be really cool if they would, involve the retailers more as part of the grip team. And he agreed with me, and, after listening to Jeff, it really secures my place and Mark's place as retailers. We understand that, we may be part of the grip team or we might not be, but we'll always be involved somehow.
Yeah.
Our biggest thing is youth events. Both of my kids play, both of Mark's kids play, and we help out a lot in youth events. And to see it grow in that aspect is just amazing. And we love it. We couldn't ask for anything more. My local market up here in the northwestern part of Texas, kind of away from the DFW area, is a little different. A bunch of these guys are, they're plastic. They've had a bunch of birdie bashes. They love the feel of the putters, but they hate the drivers. So I'm working with some people here to get Vibram, in the trunk of their cars during their minis to kind of get it out there. But it's tough. I mean, that's been one of the hardest things for me because I'm the only Vibram player in this market. And, nobody wants to just jump out and say, oh, yeah, I'll buy Vibram. But I have guys on the course that'll be like, hey, man, what was that? I saw you just launched that thing. What is it? And I'll be like, man, that was a beat-in lace. I mean, they fly great. Once you get them beat in, they're way understable, whenever you first get them. But once you beat them in, man, they're awesome. And he's like, man, can I throw it? And once they get their hands on it, they love it. But, it's getting past all the negativity and the people that are just so stuck on plastic to get the disc in these people's hands. And that's been my biggest struggle. Being, kind of a younger player also, I've only been playing for about a little over a year. So,
yeah, but the fact that you're running events and only been doing it a year, man, that's awesome.
Yeah, and I haven't ever put on an event. I've helped out, especially Brad and Matt Martin. They do the Bring a Kid to Disc Golf events.
Yeah.
And it was something that me and my wife talked about extensively, to get our kids involved. And then when me and Mark opened the retail side of it, it was a big deal to us. We were like, all right, we're going to, however we can help, let's do it. So, I mean, we had our table set out. Anybody that wanted to do anything. And we actually, and I wish I had one here. They're all in, my kids have them because they want them. But we donated 20 custom discs to Bring a Kid to Disc Golf.
That's awesome.
We had only been open for about a month, so it was a big investment for us to jump in and spend a couple of $100 and get some, disc in these guys' hands. And I had plastic guys coming up to me, hey man, can I have one of those? Those are so awesome. And, it got Matt Martin's ADR, his logo out there, because he was really the, I won't say entrepreneur, the guy that started to Bring a Kid to Disc Golf down here in Texas. And, we just love Matt for it because it brought the last one we did. I can't remember how many kids there were, but we had like 2 pages that we were tallying scores on. And it was so cool to see kids from, 3 and 4 years old coming up, hey, I won something. Hey, I won something.
Yep.
To girls, to, kids up to 14 and 15 coming up being, and they were just as excited as the little ones. And to see that pop in their eyes was just amazing.
It is, man. I mean, that's the thing is that, the ability now, though, for you as a retailer to have the flexibility to run the event as you see fit that fits your audience. It sounds like then this is going to be a perfect fit for the way that you guys are doing these kids disc golf tournaments.
Yeah, it's going to fit in exactly to what we envision and how we would like to see things run. And, the nice thing is we can, come in, I can have guys call me and say, hey, we're putting on an event. I know you're a retailer, you're, kind of on the street retailer. How would you like to be a part of that? And I was very leery at first and very scared that Vibram was going to run the events and, supply all the disc and all that. And I was, because I was just thinking, I was like, man, that takes a big portion of what I could be moving, even though I may not make anything on it, which we're not in the business to, we're not going to retire. This is not our full-time gig, but we make enough to sustain the business and, being able to sponsor kids. I sponsored Mark's son to go down to the Texas Junior Worlds,
awesome.
$100 gas card. That was something I did. Didn't even ask him about it. I said, hey, I got you something in the mail. And, it's the little things that matter to us. It's not, oh, we did this big event. It's, hey, I threw $100 away. That's a lot of money, from a small retailer's, standpoint. But that's
Yep.
it. And, we'll be more than happy to do it for anybody. Our biggest deal is getting presence out there, getting known.
Well, now you got Vibram Disc Golf willing to come out and help you do that, right? So now we've got some events for retailers such as yourself, such Hawks Nest Disc Golf. We've got we've got the retailers that are involved in the group. you've got Disc Bite, you got Community Discs. I know that yourself and Mark have starting to get a lot more active in the group. So we get guys like you that are able to go out and structure events that will continue to support you and give you a little bit more flexibility. I think that's exciting. So let me ask you this. Have you personally applied already?
As Jeff was going through, I was liking what I was hearing. So as I had my headset on, my kids were playing in the background, and I actually went on and put my app in as Jeff was talking.
Good deal, man. I like to hear that. Well, I appreciate you joining me, man, and kind of giving me your thoughts. And for anybody else out there that wants to join in on the round table over the next couple of minutes, feel free to click the link, and we'll get your thoughts on there. But Kevin, thanks again. Give everybody again your name, full name, your location, and who you're representing again.
Kevin Van Cleve, Money Shot Disc, and we're kind of located up in the Wichita Falls area and in the DFW area. We have presence in both areas.
Awesome, brother. Well, I appreciate you hopping on and chatting with us for a little bit. We'll definitely coordinate something to get you and Mark on here, and we'll dig in to Money Shot Disc Golf in a little bit more detail and get you guys a dedicated spot. That sound good?
Awesome. Sounds great.
All right, brother. Have a good night. All right, everybody. So we had Kevin hop on. I'm going to keep the round table open for the next little bit as I do my closing remarks. So if anybody wants to jump on and cut me off from stopping the night, feel free to join, and we can chat it up. We had some awesome stuff come down tonight with Jeff Laney from Vibram Disc Golf. Announced a lot of details about the grip team. The first 2 hours, literally from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., 2 hour block, directly 2 hours was Jeff Laney, all Jeff Laney. From 8 o'clock to 9 p.m. was Chris Collette, 1 whole hour, nothing but Hawk's Nest. This next piece is us. We'll sit here and chat it up, and I've got another ding in my ear, and somebody joined and then turned off their camera. I don't know if they're joining just to chat or if they actually want to talk. For whoever joined the chat, I can hear you on my side if you want, but the computer or the live feed cannot hear you. So feel free to speak up if you have something you want to dig into. So guys, it has been a lot of fun for me. I appreciate the support of you guys getting out there and continuing to bump this stuff up and to chat it up and to continue to push this. I see a Mr. Brian Prokop. Brian, I know that from your side of things, this was probably an interesting perspective because you probably know a little bit about what was been going on behind the scenes. But now with it out on the table, at least a little bit until the contracts come out and the team gets announced, you can kind of sit back and enjoy yourself, yeah?
Yeah. I've been excited to see it. And I've read so many comments about, what's going to happen, who's going to be part of it, all the questions, knowing a lot of the answers. And I'm finally relieved to see that it's all out there.
Yeah, absolutely. One more vault disc gone, guys. If you missed it, Hawk's Nest, 2 discs and a mini, or 2 discs and you get a free mini, 3 discs you get a vault disc and a mini. And I just saw a note that 1 more is gone. So that means 11 vault discs, and that means I'm going to have to end this podcast so I can guarantee a vault disc. A red and black hybrid would probably be pretty nice. Even though I didn't pick one up from the last vault, that's okay. So, man, let's when Jeff went into the details of grip and just kind of the focus there, most of us are aware that you've been doing a lot behind the scenes to try to get a lot of this organized. What is your excitement level with this finally being rolled out, and how do you envision your thing to change around, if at all?
Well, most of the stuff I do is behind the scenes. Because like you, I don't think I have the time or resources to go around and promote what this grip team would be. So I don't know. We'll see. But
another vault disc gone.
To Jeff's point, though, there are some people that have stronger social media skills than they do disc golf skills. So
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. I think it could, I mean, it could get interesting to see the dynamic of, certain portions of the team focused on, social media maybe, and a certain portion of the team. That's where, when he was talking about regions and it being, kind of a tight squeeze, he wants to have a small team. I mean, 20 people is not a whole lot of people, but when you look at it and you see, okay, if we've got one guy that's really good on social media, he can branch all aspects of region, so you're not too stressed about that. But otherwise, 20 folks, if you got I mean, these Texas guys are freaks, man. There's got to be 2 or 3 grip members over there. But, I mean, if you want to try to spread it out and hit the rural spots, you might have to make some hard decisions and only have one guy in these really populated areas.
Yeah, he's got a really tough decision because, I mean, we can talk about Bradley and Mark, some great people from the collectors group that would be great grip team candidates.
Yeah.
And all the other people that we don't know about. But at the same
Thanks for joining, Talon.
If we look at the pro team as well, look, we got Vinny down there, we got Chase Hayden down there.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, really tough decision.
Yeah, that's going to be tough. But what I like about it, though, is the fact that, I think it was Ben O or maybe Brad Silvers the other night that brought up a pretty interesting point about how many folks hosted Vibram Birdie Bashes in the past. And so, this group of 120, I'd be interested to do a validation against the 2 to see how many of them had done Birdie Bashes in the past. I'd be willing to bet there's probably quite a few.
Yeah, there's probably a lot.
And I think that, the excitement of having the flexibility, if you want to run a Birdie Bash, run a Birdie Bash. I mean, obviously it wouldn't be called Birdie Bash, it'd be called a grip event, but, you can run it as a Birdie Bash format if that's what fit. And that's the part that I like, is that I have the flexibility to do what's fun. Like, I don't have to stress about, hey guys, show up to my tournament and it's going to be straight stroke play and, or match play or whatever. And, it is what it is. I don't know. To me, I love the Birdie Bash format because, first of all, everybody went balls out in the Birdie Bash because it was all about trying to hit metal. It didn't matter. You weren't trying to play strategic and try to get the proper position, all that crap. You were just going balls out and going for metal. What's up, puppy? So, yeah, I think that's what made it so much fun. Same thing with, like, the Ace Race and the Par 2 events. Those are out there. They're so laid back, and it's, like, just fun. So I like the fact that that's out there. Somebody out there, I think it was Wade Fisher, made a mention of doing a glow event. I think he said a 2-disc
double safari.
Yeah, something. He had all kinds of labels in there. But the cool thing is, though, with the safari thing, it allows you to take your home course and play it backwards or to switch it up a little bit. My local home course, there's no way in hell I could play it backwards. There's too many trees. But there's things that you can do like that make it a lot of fun.
It opens up grip events too to places where that home course is miles and miles away. It could be done inside a shop. It could be done in a parking lot. It could be done in a gym, to a school or a church. Grip events don't have to be placed on a disc golf course.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. I mean, that's even different way to look at it, is that they could just do something just super laid back with like one. You could almost do like a single basket with 9 different tees. Do something totally funky, like call it the round table tournament, the round table run. How about that? You heard it here first. Round table run. Kep's doing a round table run, y'all. It's gonna be one basket in the middle of a big ass field, and then you're gonna have 9 tee boxes going to the same basket. It's gonna be a hot mess. We'll figure it out. We'll lay it out. But I like that, man. The fact that you can have a crazy idea, and if you can make it work, you can make it work.
Exactly.
It doesn't have to be, the status quo, the normal position. And you have somebody at your door.
Yeah, apparently.
It's late. 6:30 there. So, well, I'm not going to keep you long, brother. I just wanted to open this up, see if there's anybody out there that wanted to chat it up. I appreciate you joining and give me a couple minutes of that beautiful face and that awesome inspiration of a beard. I think my beard is getting a little bit longer than yours now. You got the extra curls. You need to blow dry it or something, man. Get those curls straightened out.
A little bit of manscaping. Is that what
Yeah, a little manscaping. There you go. I actually got some of the Honest Amish beard butter in the mail today, so I'll be trying that out. I've been rocking the Live Bearded products, and they are quite magnificent. But I will say that I will be trying out the Honest Amish based upon your referral. So, all right, brother. Well, I'm going to let you go, man. I'm going to wrap this thing up. I'm getting a little hungry, and I need a refill on my drink. But it's been so much fun, and I will continue to do this if I make Grip Team or not. I really am just enjoying having podcasts and getting family like you together and having these conversations, and hopefully we'll be able to continue to do that. And you acting as my internal agent, if you can continue to push Jeff for a regular podcast schedule, that would be wonderful. And then we can get into colors and, different chemical mix, all kinds of other funky stuff that we've talked about for years that we would love to chat about if they can be disclosed. So let's continue to push down that, man, and let's well, hell, we talk every day. Who are we kidding? So we'll talk to you a little bit later. And for those of you at home, wave bye to Brian. Bye, Brian. Thanks, bro. All right, guys. So there it is. It was a awesome night. I mean, 3.5 hours straight podcast. I mean, to be honest with you, I can't believe it's been 3.5 hours because the time has just flown by. It's been that amazing. I've been having that much fun. And our guests tonight were amazing. I mean, Jeff Laney obviously is a top-notch dude, super class act, is pushing this to be slow and steady. Slow and steady wins the race. I truly believe that, and I truly believe that that is where Jeff is focused, and it appears as though this grip team should address that. So all of you out there, thank you so much for joining. Again, we had a giveaway, Chris Lewandowski, we had David Sermon, we had Kevin Lawless. So we have 9 people out there watching, 9 of you still at this point, 3.5 hours later. So here's what I'm going to do. I am going to do one more float mini of your choice. But here's the way this is going to work, float minis of your choice. Whoever can be the first person to tell me at least one step of Hawk's Nest mission statement. One step, either step 1, step 2, or step 3 of Hawk's Nest mission statement will win a float mini of your choice. So it's only available to those of you that are watching right this second. But you had to also have been watching earlier and paying attention to what Chris said. He had 3 steps to his business mission statement. Step 1 was, step 2 was, step 3 was. So the first person to name at least one step, the number of the step and the wording of the step as close as possible. Doesn't have to be exactly exact, but the first person to do so will get a float mini of their choice. So I'm watching comments. There's 10 of you out there, and I'm probably a good 30 seconds, maybe a minute behind you. So I'll give it a moment here and talk to you guys about why I do this. You know, I found several years ago, I was playing disc golf. I played in the 90s, and then I picked it back up several years ago. And I went to the store and I picked up a Vibram disc. Just randomly. I'd already been throwing plastic for probably about a year. And I picked up a Vibram disc because the front of it looked like a T. What I found was that with somebody like myself that has clammy hands, it just is what it is, just part of my nature. The Vibram disc had better grip. It allowed me more consistent throw, etc., etc. Found the Vibram Disc Golf Collectors group. Realized that the gentleman that was running it, James Wright at the time, needed a little bit of help to kind of keep up with it. And the rest is history, y'all. Every single one of you out there I find is family. My door is open to you. I've had Casey Lee come and crash the weekend with my family. You know, message me, PM me. If you're going to be in the Charlotte area, let's get together. Let's play some golf. And we are going to do it. So we've got Kevin Van Cleve appears to be the first one with a number and a step. So Edward Wears Bicky, you were really close with Grow the Sport, but I don't know if you know if it's the number. So Kevin Van Cleve has got Help Every Disc Golf Player Become Better. So here's what Hawks Nest Disc Golf told us tonight. The mission statement. Step number 1, grow the sport. Step number 2, support the community. And step number 3, help every disc golfer become a better player. So Kevin Van Cleve, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Edward Wears Bicky, PM me, brother. I'll get you a sticker or something out there because you had the right guess. You just didn't have the right number or a number at all. And fairness being fair, I've got to run with Kevin Van Cleve with a number and a step posted out there. So that's what we're going to go with. Thank you so much, everybody. It has been an absolute honor to host this podcast tonight. I hope to continue hosting podcasts. I've got some fancy stuff up my sleeve with some of these vendors. So hopefully all of you can be part of that, and we'll continue to do some fun stuff there, right? So again, thank you so much, everyone. It's been fun. I hope you continue to throw them straight, and you make your next round your best round.